Chapter 413. Zhang Zhong didn't understand his son's intention, but he still arranged it. Zhang Xiaobao didn't care about this matter anymore. He knew that the reason why Zhang Yi didn't come to apologize was because he still had bargaining chips on him. He wanted to wait for an opportunity to exchange conditions. If it were someone else, they would have already asked someone to find Zhang Yi. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan weren't just anyone. The two of them didn't care about Zhang Yi at all. They just casually made a move. The most important thing was to solve the most important problem, which was the problem of the people's livelihood. The goods on the ship should have been unloaded and transported here. The magistrate office must put out a notice to let the people know that they could get these goods first, and then pay for them. If they didn't have money, they could use the things in the sea as a substitute, especially those good things that could be offered as tribute. There was no need to rush this. They could take it slowly. There was no need to take risks in order to repay quickly. The Zhang family didn't need it, and the Zhang family could afford to pay for it. The third notice came out. After the people saw it, they couldn't believe that it was real. However, when the goods were transported and they were allowed to choose, they had to admit that it wasn't a dream. All the people who bought the goods didn't need to use any collateral. They just needed to leave their fingerprint. Zhang Xiaobao believed in the customs here. The notice clearly stated that the goods could be paid for within a year. If there was a special situation, it could be postponed, but they needed to send someone to check. If nothing happened and the goods were not paid after a year, the person's name would be written on the notice to warn people to be careful of such people. They were all from the same village. If their names were posted, they wouldn't be able to raise their heads in public anymore. This time, the goods prepared were very complete. There were furs, snacks, medicine, cloth, cheap jewelry, and some tools that could be used. As for the purely ornamental goods, forget about it. The people didn't have the consciousness to buy them. Every time the goods arrived at a place, the people would pick and choose. In fact, they were just short of a buffer time, so they had no choice but to sell the things in their hands at a low price under the pressure of life. Now that these goods were not sold at a high price, the value of future goods would also be high. In addition to these, Li Sun also arranged for people to use other identities to lend money. The interest rate was very low. Usually it was 10 copper coins and 13 copper coins. That was to say, if you lent 10 copper coins and gave 9 copper coins, you would have to return 13 copper coins. Li Sun used 10 copper coins and only 10% interest. Furthermore, it was calculated on a yearly basis, not the usual monthly basis. This immediately lowered the price by a lot. Some of the commoners who had some ideas tried to borrow some, but this required them to pawn their belongings and write a receipt. When the time came, they could still report it to the yamen. The main thing was that Zhang Xiaobao had calculated that there were only about 7,000 people in the entire prefecture. If everyone borrowed money, it would be of great use to one person. Borrowing 3 strings of money would be able to buy a small boat to go to sea. If everyone borrowed money, based on the average of 2 strings of money, it would be no more than 15,000 strings of money. Moreover, when borrowing money, why did they have to mention themselves? If they wanted to seek medical treatment, there was no need. There were ready-made doctors, and they were looking for a place to build a medical center. As long as the medicinal materials were not ginseng or deer antler, ordinary medicine was very cheap, and the costs would be collected. This way, they were not afraid of people who pretended to borrow money and ran away. If you said you wanted to buy a cow to plow the land, then it depended on how much land you had. If you bought a cow, it would be around 7 or 8 strings of money or 10 strings of money. The land and the cow would be used as collateral. Wang Wan also specially asked Zhang Xiaobao, what if someone wanted to buy a bigger boat that cost 15 strings of money and capsized? Zhang Xiaobao's answer was very simple. As long as the person was fine, it was fine. It was not really a loan, so who would deliberately capsize the boat? When the time came, if there was really such a bad person, they would work for him. The work would be used to pay off the debt, and they would arrange some good jobs. After they earned money, they would use part of it to pay off the debt and part of it to live. It was impossible not to have any measures of punishment that would make people feel that there was a loophole to take advantage of. In order to better publicize the benevolence and righteousness of the new provincial governor, All the goods were transported to the prefectural city to be sold. Furthermore, people were sent to the other 3 counties to talk about this matter and let them come over to buy. This way, the local people would tell the people in the other counties about the new provincial governor's actions. The next step is to dry the salt. There must be a lot of behind-the-scenes transactions there. After dealing with the people, we can implement it. This kind of salt trade originally belonged to the local government, which is the provincial government. The reason why they suppressed the provincial governor was to profit from it. It turned out that it was to boil salt. A stone of salt requires more than 400 caddies of good firewood. No matter how expensive firewood is, it is not as expensive as salt. A stone of salt can be sold for 600 or 700 copper coins. How much is 400 caddies of firewood worth? 5 copper coins? 6 copper coins? There are so many mountains. Just go up the mountain, and you can get a lot of firewood. You can't blame someone for taking the risk for nearly 100 times the profit. Zhang Xiaobao sat on the couch of the inn and looked out the window at the crowd that was heading to the place where the goods were sold. He began to plan for the future. When Wang Wan came, she knew that Zhang Xiaobao was preparing to dry the salt. There was very little manpower, and the salt was produced in large amounts and quickly. There was also no need to waste firewood. When that time came, the cost would be even lower. If they used a large ship to transport it, each ship could carry 5 or 6 tons. If they took the road and transported it to places with little or no salt and sold it, they could earn 500 or 600 strings of coins per ship, or even more. If they were willing to pay the local price, it would be easy to earn 1,000 strings of coins. Thinking that if a large amount of salt was sold in the future, it would not be easy to sell salt in other places. Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Aren't you afraid that a large amount of salt will impact the market?" "I'm afraid, but we can't produce so much salt here. It is not possible to turn the seawater into salt by drying it for a few minutes. The production time will affect the output. There are also salt pans. Not all places near the sea can be used as salt pans, unless a large amount of manpower is used to level the ground. Also, it depends on how the wind blows. There's a lot of knowledge involved in this, and I don't know much about it either. After a few tries, I'll know what to do. We'll just use whatever fits our needs." Nowadays, people are still in a situation of salt shortage. It's not like back in our time, when industrial salt production was more convenient. Zhang Xiaobao had already considered this matter. It was not a problem at all. Even if he turned the coastal area into salt pans, it would not be able to meet the demand. Besides, selling salt was not very profitable for him. It would take at least half a year for a ship to go back and forth. Wouldn't it be better to transport something else? Thinking of making money, Zhang Xiaobao suggested to Wang Wan, "Why don't we cultivate pearls? This thing can make money. It can be used as medicine or as an ornament. Just put some things that can't be dissolved into their flesh, and then let them wrap it little by little with body fluid. Finally, the pearls will come out. Dream on. Tell me, what kind of shell should we use? What should we put in? How should we put it? Where and how should we raise it? What are the relevant things that we need to pay attention to? How many years will it take to become a pearl?" When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, she knew that he didn't know how to do it. She made up a bunch of nonsense and asked several questions in a row. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head every time she asked a question. He wanted to say that they should put sand in the shell, but when he thought about it, it didn't seem good to wrap sand in a pearl. "Then let's kill a lot of sharks and sell their fins. This thing is good." Zhang Xiaobao changed the topic. "Who should kill them? How? Send them to the sharks to be killed? Can't you think of something that can be implemented?" Wang Wan refuted Zhang Xiaobao again without any mercy. "Then change. Let's get some ducks and release them on the beach." Zhang Xiaobao changed again. The two of them in the room, one of them made a proposal and the other rejected it. They had a long discussion. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could bicker with each other when they had nothing to do, but others couldn't. Zhang Yi had been waiting for a day, but there was still no call. He was so anxious that he walked back and forth in the place where the businessman surnamed Shen was. He wasn't the only one who was anxious. The businessman surnamed Shen was also anxious. In the past, he had encountered a lot of schemes, and his calculations were relatively accurate. This time, he thought that it was a sure thing, but he was wrong. He thought that Zhang Zhong wanted to deal with the original forces here first. If it were someone else, they would do the same. However, Zhang Zhong seemed to have put this matter aside and concentrated on doing business. It was the kind of business that couldn't maximize the benefits. Mr. Shen, what do you think Zhang Zhong wants to do? He obviously has the upper hand, but he stopped. I always feel that things are not so simple. If we wait any longer, it will be easy for something to happen. Zhang Yi walked a few more times. He really couldn't suppress the agitation in his heart, so he stopped and asked, don't worry. Zhang Zhong must have some difficulties, so he doesn't dare to come to you directly. Could it be that he thought of the relationship between you and me? So he guessed the force behind me? Is he afraid? Wait a little longer. If he still doesn't come to you at this time tomorrow, we will think of a way. Even Boss Shen himself didn't believe the words that he said. Zhang Zhong came so quickly, and his actions weren't slow either. No matter what, he couldn't guess the power behind him. At this time, other than waiting, it seemed that there was no better method. The two of them didn't wait until this time the next day. That night, 71 Yamen runners who were tortured to death came back. Some of them even said while walking, I don't dare to do bad things for Zhang Yi anymore. I will listen to the provincial governor in the future. I don't dare to. Zhang Xiaobao's method made the Yamen runners who had never encountered it before almost collapse mentally. As long as they thought of what happened last night, they would feel cold all over. When Zhang Yi and Chen Dongjia saw the 71 people, the look in their eyes was different from before. What's wrong with you? Did they use a big punishment? Zhang Yi came in front of a Yamen runner and asked. It's worse than a big punishment. I have seen it. Master, the other 31 brothers are going to be beheaded tomorrow. Don't you want to save them? The Yamen runner who was asked looked straight ahead when he was speaking. His tone was so flat, which made people feel very uncomfortable. Chapter 414. The sun shone warmly. The deep blue sea pushed towards the shore from afar with layers of waves. Then it turned light blue and became transparent. There were also some white waves that kept crashing onto the beach, leaving behind bubbles that slowly receded. Every time the waves hit the beach, there would be countless tide worms that were brought to the shore by the waves. When the tide receded, some of them were brought away by the sea while others quickly burrowed into the sand. Small crabs did the same. They used the tide to come to the beach and burrowed into the crevices of the reefs. They dug a hole and buried themselves, making small holes on the beach. Seabirds spread their wings and flew in the sky. Occasionally, they swooped down to the sea and picked up a fish that was struggling to twist its body. They sprinkled a string of pearl-like water droplets. The life of the world reproduced in this noisy silence. Reincarnation, 1,000 years or yesterday. The sea was still as turbulent as before. The fishermen who had long been used to such a life would usually catch some small fish and shrimp near the shore and fry them in a dry pot without adding oil or salt. However, today there was not a single fisherman in the sea of Ulay County. It was almost noon, and the people in the county all gathered in the direction of the execution field. Although it was called the execution field, it was actually a wasteland. There was no platform or anything like that. However, the people did not care about that. They just wanted to see the result of the people who had hurt them. Some people even brought the memorial tablets of their dead relatives from home and waited quietly, waiting for the time when the Yangqi was the most abundant. Zhang Zhong had already led a group of officials here. There was a table in front of them. The people in charge of the execution kept fiddling with things. As they burned incense, they kept muttering. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also came here. They squeezed into the crowd and became bystanders, even if they were the ones who planned this. The executioners today were the members of the Zhizhuang Protection Team and the Zero Team. 31 people were chosen. No matter how hard they trained, they would always be a little lacking if they had not personally experienced blood. When the 31 bailiffs were brought up, the people around them cheered. No one was sad that the people in front of them were about to lose their lives, because these people had taken the lives of others before. Amidst the cheers, the sound of crying could be heard. The person holding the tablet cried and said something to the tablet. When the 31 people were forced to kneel on the ground, Zhang Yi finally appeared. He was surrounded by the 71 bailiffs who were released yesterday. These bailiffs, who were usually arrogant, did not look like they did today. They looked like shriveled chickens. The Yushan County Magistrate had also arrived with Zhang Yi. He was the only one who had come. Last night, Zhang Yi had sent someone to find him on horseback, hoping that he would be able to stall them for a while. When the time came, the two county magistrates could work together to pressure Zhang Zhong. Unexpectedly, the Yushan County Magistrate was already on his way to Wulei County. Otherwise, he would not have arrived at this time. Nian Wanjiu only brought 10 bailiffs with him. He had rushed over for other matters. When he found out that Zhang Zhong was going to kill people, he agreed to oppose with Zhang Yi and save the people. When the two of them arrived, the preparations were almost done. Zhang Yi looked at the bailiffs beside him, then looked at the 200 people with crossbows. He suppressed the idea of breaking in and shouted at Zhang Zhong, "Provincial Governor, please wait. I have something to say." Zhang Yi's voice made the people around him tremble. They looked at the county magistrate, who also wanted to kill him, and then looked at Zhang Zhong. "It's already noon. Start the execution. If anyone tries to stop you, kill them." Zhang Zhong did not pay attention to Zhang Yi and directly gave the order. The purpose of this was simple. The people who were released yesterday would leave a shadow in their hearts. Even if they came today, they would not be of much use. Zhang Yi had to come. Otherwise, who would dare to work with him in the future? But it was useless even if they came. He wanted to let everyone know that they followed Zhang Yi because he did not have the ability to help them at critical moments. The 200 guards with crossbows in their hands shouted in unison, "Kill!" Looking at the people who unsheathed their swords and loaded their crossbows, Zhang Yi did not know what to do. He gave Nian Wanjiu a look. Just as Nian Wanjiu was about to speak, a guard on the other side turned his crossbow over. Nian Wanjiu swallowed the words that were about to come out of his mouth. His life was more important. Who knew if they would shoot it? With a slight delay, the 31 people in the execution field dropped their swords. Among them, 30 people were relatively good. Only one person stretched a little when he used his strength. In the end, his head was not chopped off. This person trembled and was a little scared. But when he thought of what the young lady said, cowards should return to the inner court to do chores. Thinking of this person raised his sword and aimed at the place where he had just chopped. No matter how much blood spurted out, he chopped down again. With a thump, this person's head was finally chopped off. 31 people were killed. The surrounding people were silent at first. Then some people began to cry. They held the memorial tablets and came to the execution field. They knelt there and kowtowed to the memorial tablets. After kowtowing, they turned to Zhang Zhong's direction and kowtowed to him. With this group of people taking the lead, the others who did not hold the memorial tablets also knelt down and kowtowed to Zhang Zhong. No matter how Zhang Zhong asked them to get up, these people did not get up. Just as Zhang Zhong was about to go down and persuade them personally, he turned his head and saw that Zhang Yi had already turned around and was walking back with Nian Wanjiu. He immediately shouted, "Stop right there, Wulei County's county magistrate Zhang Yi. You told me that you had something to do just now. Why are you leaving now? Are you playing with me? Men, take him away." This shout was indeed effective. The commoners stopped kowtowing, and the crying people also stopped. They turned their heads to look at Zhang Yi. They slowly stood up, wanting to know what the provincial governor wanted to do. Zhang Yi was too busy being angry. He did not expect Zhang Zhong to find trouble with him at this time. He cursed in his heart. How could Zhang Zhong not know what he was going to say? He had already killed people, and he was still asking him? Thinking like this, Zhang Yi couldn't say it out loud. Seeing people rushing over, he hurriedly shouted to Zhang Zhong, "Darren, this official was scared just now and forgot about it." After hearing Darren's shout, this official remembered. "I asked Darren to forgive me." Even if Zhang Yi was unwilling to accept this, he had to admit defeat at this time. He realized that he could not see through Zhang Zhong. After coming here, how was he like the other officials when they were appointed? Usually, when one became an official in a new place, there were only 3 situations. The first was to know the local officials and get along well with them. The second was to have ambition. First, they would show weakness and find an opportunity to make a comeback. They might succeed, but they might not. The third was to call the officials under them over and give them a lecture, thinking that everything would be fine. This kind of person would usually come with glory and leave with their tails between their legs. However, Zhang Zhong was neither of these. When he came, he acted like he was doing official business. He did not hide his actions at all. The first day he arrived, the next day he killed people and captured people. In just 3 days, 39 lives were lost. However, he asked about the specific matters in the manner, capturing people, killing people, releasing goods and lending money. What did he want to do? Zhang Yi really could not think of anything. However, he knew that this Zhang Zhong was definitely a person who killed people without batting an eyelid. He could not anger him. Even if he killed him, he would be investigated by the imperial court. However, if he lost his life, would it matter if he was investigated or not? Zhang Yi thought quickly. He only used a few breaths of time to think it through. When the surrounding commoners saw that Zhang Yi, who had bullied provincial governor Shi, had given in, they cheered and cursed. Zhang Zhong did not stop them. He let Zhang Yi feel the anger of the commoners. With him around, Zhang Yi did not dare to talk back. He also did not dare to stand up, and he did not dare to leave. The commoners cursed for a while before gradually calming down. They moved to the back and made space for Zhang Yi to stand in front of Zhang Zhong. They waited for Zhang Zhong to deal with Zhang Yi. The commoners finally found their backbone. The new official had only been here for a little more than 3 days, but he had already done a lot of good things. The commoners knew clearly that the new official had something to do with the new official. Otherwise, why would they wait for him to come? Especially the loan. The annual interest was only 10%. It was almost the same as borrowing for free. Zhang Yi walked towards Zhang Zhong first. He did not dare to leave for a long time. He followed behind. The cursing just now also affected him. The two of them were in a very bad mood. However, they had no choice but to squeeze out a smile on their faces. Didn't you see that the 4 judges who usually cooperated well with them were sitting there obediently and giving them looks? Zhang Zhong put on airs and sat there. He did not look at Zhang Yi. Instead, he looked in front of him. Zhang Yi endured the sullenness in his heart. He came forward and bowed. Provincial governor, this official has something to say. Speak. Zhang Zhong lifted his eyelids and uttered a word in a drawn-out voice. Yes, Your Excellency. I came here to find you because I want to ask what should we do when the rain gets heavier in 2 days. Zhang Yi casually picked a topic to ask. Zhang Zhong noticed that after hearing Zhang Yi's words, the commoners also quietened down. They seemed to be waiting for him to say a solution. He thought for a while and asked, "What did you do in the past?" In the past, under the leadership of Sir Shi, we worked hard to improve the irrigation system. We diverted the water from the mountain and the water from the rain into the sea. However, because the magistrate lacked money, we could not do it all. The results were very little. Zhang Yi explained and pushed the responsibility to the previous provincial governor. Oh, the magistrate lacked money? I wonder if there is money in the county? When I came here the day before yesterday, I passed by the county magistrate's office. Zhang Yi, your house was built quite well. Zhang Zhong said lightly. Zhang Yi's heart skipped a beat. He secretly thought that Zhang Zhong did mention this matter. Fortunately, he already had an explanation. Sir, the money did not come from the county magistrate's office. It was a gift from this official's friend. County Magistrate Zhang Yi, you have such a friend? Call him over and let me see him one day. Zhang Zhong just happened to have this plan. He wanted to find the person behind this. Otherwise, it would be useless to just deal with the county magistrate. If you want to see him, this official will naturally find him. Why don't we meet tonight? Zhang Yi also found an opportunity. Chapter 415. Zhang Yi was finally released. Nian Wanjiu used the same reason. There might be a flood in Yushan district, so he was also released. Zhang Zhong did not have the time to deal with these two people, especially Nian Wanjiu. There was no evidence of his crimes, so Zhang Yi would not do anything to him now. The people who came to complain the other day did not only complain about the bailiffs, but also about Zhang Yi and the other officials in Wulei district. When the people's affairs were more or less settled, he would get rid of the people behind this, and then deal with them. The 2 county magistrates were released, and the people were slightly disappointed. They thought that they could take the opportunity to kill the 2 magistrates. There were smart people among the people, and they knew that the new high-ranking official had his own considerations, so they told the people who did not understand. The people who did not understand still did not understand, but they knew that the new provincial governor was a good official. With the provincial governor around, they would not be bullied by the district in the future. Zhang Zhong and the other officials returned to the manor first, leaving the members of Team Zero to clean up the execution ground. There was no rain, and there was no snow. They fetched water to wash the blood away, and did not put the dead people outside for others to see. They dug holes and buried them to avoid attracting mosquitoes and flies. The people dispersed, and all of them were in a good mood. Those who bought goods and borrowed money prepared to go back and eat something good to celebrate. Those who set up the stalls lowered the price of the goods, so that they could sell them earlier and go back home. Those who opened the shop also added more food for their shop assistants or themselves. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also prepared good things for the 56 people. They brought frozen beef from home, and were not very particular about the steak. They were very casual when choosing the meat. It was not that Zhang Xiaobao did not know about steak. He was very familiar with this aspect in his past life, but the conditions did not allow it. After all, it was medium rare. After it was cut open, there were still traces of blood. Zhang Xiaobao did not like to eat it. He liked to eat well done, and he was often criticized for having no taste. The main reason was that after the chef he hired in the past finished cooking, he would use a knife to cut it open and sprinkle cumin and chili powder on it. This time, in order to celebrate the success of the seedling protection team, she cooperated with Wang Wan to make some. She even specially prepared grape wine to accompany the 56 people to eat. It was the first time that the members of Team Zero of the vigorous protection team had killed someone. Those who did not kill were responsible for collecting the body and cleaning up the bloodstains. When they killed someone, they only felt their heart palpitate. However, when they smelled the blood, they felt a little disgusted. When the 56 of them returned to the inn, they first soaked their blood-stained clothes in water. There was a specialized person in charge of washing them. After that, they took a good bath themselves. Only then did they change their clothes and go to the courtyard. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already prepared the ingredients. As soon as everyone arrived, they began to quickly cook. With more than a dozen frying pans cooking at the same time, they were able to make nearly 30 servings in one go. 2 frying pans were enough for everyone to eat. There was no need to be too particular. Medium rare was the standard. The 56 of them sat there and waited obediently. It was not the first time that they had eaten the food cooked by the young master and the young lady. In the past, they had eaten well, and were looking forward to this time. Looking at the knives and forks on the table, everyone understood that it was the strange way of eating without using chopsticks. They were familiar with this and used it more smoothly. Soon the first pot was ready and served to the table one by one. The 56 of them had never eaten beef cooked in this way. They had just killed someone, and it was so bloody. They felt a little disgusted. However, the meat was edible. There was also grape wine beside it. This was not the cheap wine that they usually drank. A big bowl of it cost 200 copper coins. After a while, the second pot was ready. Each of them had a serving. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also had a serving in front of them. First of all, this thing is hot. You have to be careful when you eat it. Another very important thing is that no matter what you find later, you are not allowed to show any expression of discomfort on your face, and you are not allowed to spit out anything. Otherwise, before eating, Wang Wan told the 56 of them. Otherwise, they would have to explain it to them. Everyone understood. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan started eating first. From the outside, the meat didn't look like much. After they cut it open, blood started to seep out. Because it was frozen beef, there was a lot of blood. Zhang Xiaobao used a knife to cut off a piece and stuffed it into his mouth. Zhang Xiaobao chewed it carefully and drank a mouthful of wine. He told Wang Wan, "It's edible." I know. It can be eaten even if it is fried into ashes. Xiaobao, look at the traces of blood. How beautiful. It reminds me of the blood that spurted out from the neck cavity when we killed people. It was so red and so bright. Drinking this wine is like drinking their blood. Eating this meat is like eating their meat. Wang Wan said while eating. Her hands moved very accurately. Little young master, little lady, can we change the wine? This wine is too expensive. The distilled wine that we usually drink is pretty good. A team member saw the traces of blood in the cut meat and listened to the little lady's words. He tried to keep his expression natural and carefully asked, "You want to drink strong wine? Do you want to drink deer antler blood wine or snake blood wine?" Zhang Xiaobao asked with a serious face. "No need, little young master. This is fine. We will eat immediately." This person was shocked. He was afraid that the little lady was afraid of being tired. He was afraid that the little young master was not satisfied with what they did. The little young master was rarely angry with them, but he did not think that being angry meant that he was ready to give up. These people carried supreme glory. If they were kicked out of the team, they would not be able to live anymore. They would die of shame. The 56 people did not dare to say more. They ate according to Wang Wan's request. The meat with traces of blood was indeed disgusting. If it was a normal person, they could bear it. However, they had just killed someone. The unwillingness and hatred of the person before death seemed to be right in front of them. The blood that was sprayed out seemed to be right next to them. Wang Wan stopped when she was halfway through eating. Isn't it just killing a person? What's there to feel bad about? Those people deserve to die. Just beheading them is already letting them off lightly. Some should be cut into pieces. When they take the life of others, will they also not be able to eat? Don't think too much. Put your mind on the food. Try it and see if it tastes good. After Wang Wan finished speaking, everyone felt a little better. The steak that was served at the beginning had already turned cold because they ate slowly. However, these people still ate it into their stomachs and drank the wine. Under the influence of alcohol, they were a little more willing to face the matter of killing people. After eating, they rested for a while. The 56 people continued to train. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to arrange other things. Since they had moved to Luzhou, they would not be able to leave for some time. The sand table game had to be arranged for people to check the terrain. This had to be persevered. It had nothing to do with how much money they could make. The main thing was the military map, the local specialties, and the minerals that they found by chance. Other than that, they had to do business. If they wanted to open a restaurant, they could not just open a place. There were so many ingredients from the sea. It would be a pity if they did not make good use of them. Also, when this place became prosperous in the future, there would be many people coming and going. If they did not occupy a place, it would be difficult for them to occupy a place. Xiaobao, how did we come here this time? With your father's official position, we don't need to spend money to occupy a place. Wang Wan held a holder with a piece of silk cloth on it in one hand. With the other hand, she threaded a needle back and forth. While threading, she talked to Zhang Xiaobao. Wang Wan planned to learn embroidery. In the past, she liked to do cross-stitch when she was free. Now, she had to learn embroidery when she moved here. She knew that women could no longer be officials at this time. She had to find a way to change her profession. The clothes of the people here were usually made by their own families. The richer the family, the better the women were. If they spent money to make clothes outside, they would be laughed at. She wanted to learn embroidery first. Then, she would open a ready-to-wear shop here and find a few good hands to make clothes for others. As long as she learned the general steps, she could design clothes according to the style of that time. She felt that it would not be a problem for her to learn with her IQ. She had once discussed with Zhang Xiaobao about what Tang clothing was. Later, she found that the clothes worn by the people of the Tang Dynasty were Tang clothing. The clothes that appeared with the mentality of accepting people from all walks of life were Tang clothing. There were all kinds of clothes in Chang'an City. This made her mind active. She felt that it was not impossible to set up a large clothing group. She could even make some jewelry. Now that there were few people wearing earrings and rings, she could slowly guide others to wear them. Then she would have many ideas to design. Zhang Xiaobao looked at Wang Wan, who was embroidering, and was in a daze. After a while he said, "Actually, I know how to knit sweaters. I'm asking you how to do business." Wang Wan waited for a while. She did not expect to hear such a sentence, so she asked, "Oh, it's easy to do business. Later, find a 3-star male manager and let him do it. Now we just lack a little basic power. We can provide the power, but we can't only rely on us to open a shop. It's a state. Do you remember what was written in the history books in the past? I read a little, and it left a deep impression on me. At that time, people did not work for their own families. Everyone gathered together and calculated the money according to the share. Later, this method did not work, and people became poorer and poorer, so they separated. But not many years later, just a few decades later, people gathered together again. When the production resources were distributed, those who gathered together got a smaller proportion, but the actual amount of resources was more than before. Later, I thought about it. The first one is a political management method, and the latter one is a business management method. Zhang Xiaobao began to talk about the production model with Wang Wan. Wang Wan nodded after listening. Then, you are going to use the business management method here? Yes, we will use this method to unite the local small businesses. We will take the lead, and they will put in more effort. We will go out. If the land route is not easy, we will use boats. We will let them transport the goods here to sell outside. Those who do the same business will form a trading company. Many trading companies will form a business management committee. Then they will share the shares of each other. This way, it will be difficult for others to make a move. When our own people manage, they can also think about how to ensure their own interests. Under this method, ensuring our own interests is ensuring everyone's interests. It is the same for the fishermen. We will organize a fleet, reasonably allocate the sea area, and let the fishermen join in. This way we can catch more fish. Zhang Xiaobao was more relaxed in this aspect. There were so many models to choose from. It was just a matter of adjusting the details to fit the situation here. Chapter 416. Zhang Xiaobao took out the plan and began to discuss the details with Wang Wan. They discussed how to share the shares, how to distribute the benefits, what kind of people to choose for management, how to cooperate with each other, and how to transport the goods in the future. Apart from sending the goods to more remote places, they would basically be transported by water. The two of them discussed until the evening. Zhang Xiaobao listed many previous cases and finally came up with a plan. The details were not as confusing as before, and the people here did not need those restrictions. If someone really did it in the future, they would add on. They found a 3-star manager and talked to him for more than 2 hours. They told him to bring people to contact the local merchants tomorrow morning. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan then remembered that Zhang Zhong had already contacted the people over there. The 2-story Haitao Pavilion could be considered the best restaurant in the province. It was located in the prefectural city. If you walked along the widest street in front of the prefectural city, you would be able to see the building after walking for more than 1,000 steps. At this time, Zhang Zhong was sitting in a room on the 2nd floor of the restaurant that was separated by a screen. When Zhang Zhong saw the screen, he shook his head. The restaurant did not think about it carefully enough. There was actually only a space separated by a screen, and not a separate room. His family's restaurant had a special place for people to talk about secret matters. Not only was there a separate room, but there were also 2 floors around the room. The middle was empty, and some linen was stuffed in to prevent noise. When Zhang Zhong arrived, there were already 3 people waiting in the room. One was Zhang Yi. The other was Nian Wanjiu, who did not want to come, but had no choice but to. As for the last person, Zhang Zhong had not seen him with his own eyes, but he knew this person. This was all thanks to his son. Whether it was Zhang Xiaobao or Wang Wan, they both knew the importance of information. When they arrived at this place, the first thing they had to do was to spread the information out. If they did not know anything, they could ask the local people or the local gangsters. These people were well informed. As long as the people approved of the officials, they were on the same side. As long as the people scolded the officials, they should be dealt with. There was no need to send special investigators to the government to understand. They just needed to listen to the people. Zhang Zhong knew that this person's surname was Shen, and his name was Shen Guifu. It was a very ordinary name, but what this person did was not ordinary. He divided the salt pans that were supposed to be managed by the prefecture. One for Zhang Yi, one for Nian Wanjiu, and one for himself. His share was the largest, and the other two had to be given to the people in the yamen. Apart from that, Zhang Zhong also knew that Shen Guifu had a caravan that traveled here from the capital. However, they did not have a fleet, so they had to travel by land and sea. Since Lu Zhou's tributes were good, some people had set their eyes on this place. Moreover, they also had salt. This salt seemed simple, and it could bring Shen Guifu an additional income of several thousand strings of coins every year. In order to obtain more profits, he joined forces with some people in the provinces and made the provincial governor a mere figurehead. He even imprisoned the provincial governor, so the provincial governor did not have any power to use. The newly appointed provincial governor sure was clearly suppressed to the point that he could not turn the tables. He had no choice but to submit a memorial to the imperial court. However, he did not have any evidence. It was just a feeling. Moreover, his memorial might not be able to be sent directly to the capital. His family was already there, and the 50 mansion soldiers were too weak. Apart from this information, Li Sun also revealed that Shen Guifu had a prince backing him. He was not the crown prince. Therefore, Li Sun's intention was to do what was necessary. If worse came to worst, he would step in and support them. After all, he was not afraid of a prince who was not the crown prince. Li Sun was very dissatisfied with this. Look at the local people who were being cheated by that little bit of money. If he dared to compete, he would smash him to death with money. In fact, Li Sun's intention was to tell Zhang Zhong that as long as the prince did not come personally, he could deal with Zhang Zhong however he wanted. He was not afraid of luring him out. How much money could he get from here in a year? Just those local specialties and tributes, at most, it would be 10,000 strings of coins. It was estimated to be 5,000 to 6,000 strings of coins, not including the salt. The money for the salt should be from Shen Guifu's greed. How pitiful! Was it worth 5,000 to 6,000 strings of coins? He was so poor that he went crazy. At worst, he would give him some business and pity him a little. Li Sun was confident in this aspect. He was rich. Zhang Zhong went through these things in his mind. He said with a straight face, "I am here. If you have something to say it quickly." Provincial Governor Zhang, there is no rush. It is better to eat first. Zhang Yi was not as afraid as before. He also changed the way he addressed Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong did not care about the way he addressed him. He still said with a sullen face, "I am not used to eating outside food. Tell me, what is the matter with your good friend? Why does he give money to officials for free? What is his motive?" The three of them did not expect Zhang Zhong to be so difficult to talk to. He had an attitude of condemning them. Chen Wanjiu was the one who got the least money. He was also a little afraid of Zhang Zhong. He did not dare to say anything. Zhang Yi had just said it, so it was not good to continue. Shen Guifu could only smile and pick up the teacup on the table. He said to Zhang Zhong, "I have long heard of Sir's reputation. Sir loves the people like your own children. When you were in Sanshui County, your family started a business. You also helped the Yamen of Sanshui County to give the Yamen runners a salary. When you arrived at Huayuan County, it was even more amazing. I did not expect to meet Sir here. Sir, the wine and dishes have not been served yet. I will use tea instead of wine to toast you. I think that after Sir comes here, the local people will have a good life." Shen Guifu held the bowl and waited there. He thought that after hearing what he said, Zhang Zhong would feel uncertain. He would say a few words of kindness and drink a bowl of tea with him. In this way, he would be easier to talk to in front of Zhang Yi and Chen Wanjiu. Unexpectedly, after waiting for a while, Zhang Zhong just looked at him with a cold smile. He did not have the intention to pick up the bowl. This made him feel awkward. He asked, "Sir, what are you?" "What am I?" "Shen Guifu, you are just a small businessman. I am a fourth-rank official in the imperial court. There are many people who want to respect me. Do you think I will give face to anyone? You dared to show off the news you received 2 hours ago. Your family in Kaifeng is not planning to live anymore? Zhang Zhong's voice was not loud, but it was like thunder in Shen Guifu's ears. He had just received the news. How did Zhang Zhong know? It seemed that he knew a lot of things. He even knew where his family lived. What else did he know? Sir, I don't mean anything else. Sir, you don't know. I also do things for others. Shen Guifu changed his previous calmness and wisdom. His hand holding the bowl trembled. The water in the bowl spilled out, but he did not dare to put it down. He said to offer tea, but others did not drink it. He did not say that he should be disrespectful. If he put it down, it would be disrespectful. If he put it down, it would be easy to lose the lives of his family members. He wanted to remind Zhang Zhong, and let Zhang Zhong know that his background was not simple. Zhang Zhong and Nian Wanjiu could not express how regretful they were now. From Zhang Zhong's words, they knew that Zhang Zhong was not ordinary. When they heard Zhang Zhong talk about his family, they did not believe it. Now they had to believe it. Zhang Yi signaled Nian Wanjiu with his eyes. Wei Wei shook his head. He did not want to stand out now. Zhang Yi had no choice but to speak up himself. Provincial Governor, there are some things you don't know. Brother Shen, sometimes we are forced to do things. Forced? You were forced to rob the salt pans in the province. Then, I will write a memorial and ask the emperor. Which dragon son forced Shen Guifu to do this? Which dragon son forced him to join forces with Lu Zhou's men to suppress provincial governorship? The emperor has so many dragon sons. I'm sure one of them will stand out, right? Zhang Zhong was confident of his victory. There was a hint of arrogance in his tone. At this moment, Shen Guifu could no longer hold the teacup in his hand. It fell onto the table with a splash. He did not seem to notice that the water had scalded him. When they heard the commotion, 2 workers immediately rushed in. They looked at Zhang Zhong first. When they saw that Zhang Zhong was fine, one of them asked, "What can I do for you, sir?" When the 4 people in the room saw the 2 workers, they were stunned. The 2 workers were not the same one from before. Their clothes were clean and tidy. One of them had a handkerchief on his shoulder, and the other on his forearm. They looked energetic as they stood there. They made people feel comfortable just by looking at them. The most important thing was that there was a rice sprout embroidered on their chests. It was a very cute rice sprout. You too? Zhang Zhong did not know what to feel. He pointed at the 2 workers and asked, "Master, Between the Clouds and the Water has bought Ocean Wave Pavilion. From now on, Ocean Wave Pavilion will belong to Between the Clouds and the Water. My brother and I are workers who have just been transferred over from the shop in Hangzhou. We've just arrived. The same goes for the manager and the master. Master, do you want to eat here?" One of the workers answered respectfully to Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong nodded with a smile. "Yes, the food cooked by my family is very comfortable. The 3 of you should have a taste as well." Zhang Zhong did not need to ask to know that this was arranged by his son. The so-called manager was Zhang Liang, and the master was naturally the original head chef of Between the Clouds and the Water, Master and I. He was used to the dishes cooked by Master and I. His son had even thought about this. He could not blame his son and daughter-in-law for not knowing. The 2 little guys had calculated too many things. If others wanted to know clearly, they would be exhausted just by listening. The most surprised one was Zhang Yi. He opened his eyes wide and looked at the 2 workers. "When was it sold? Why didn't I know about it?" In reply to County Magistrate Zhang, "It was sold the day before yesterday. Your distant relative may not have told you. We came a little late and encountered a big storm. We have to go back and explain. We just arrived today and took over the shop." The worker replied in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. "How is that possible? Who told him to sell it? He dares to make the decision under his name?" Zhang Yi shouted loudly. He forgot that there was a provincial governor here. Chapter 417. Zhang Zhong also learned about this. In his mind, Zhang Yi must die. At that time, the owner of this restaurant was forced to jump from the roof of the 2nd floor. He broke many bones and later died. Zhang Yi didn't know that Zhang Zhong wanted to kill him. He thought that Zhang Zhong was happy and cooperated with them because the restaurant was bought. Shin Guifu didn't have such a good idea. He knew Zhang Zhong's character from the letter he sent. He was not so clean and had killed people. Thinking of what Zhang Zhong had done before, he reached into his pocket with his trembling hand and took out a string of coins. There were about 10 pieces. He put them on the table and said to Zhang Zhong, "My lord, this is 6,000 strings of coins. I wanted to make a big profit, and buy the things you transported on your ship. Unfortunately, you came before I could buy them. Take this 6,000 strings of coins. I'll leave Luzhou tomorrow, no today, and never come back. My lord, what do you think?" Zhang Zhong glanced at the flying money on the table. The top one was 500 strings of coins. If that was the case, then 6,000 strings of coins should be 12. If it were someone else, they might be tempted, but he smiled. "Shin Guifu, do you want to leave now? It's too late. Since you got the news, you naturally know how much money my family has. 6,000 strings of coins is too much. I'll take this money and use it to do something for the people. When the time comes, I'll give you a quick death. Men, arrest these 3 people for me." Following Zhang Zhong's order, the screen was suddenly kicked down. 20 people rushed out from the other side. A flash of saber light flashed, and the 3 people sitting at the same table with Zhang Zhong were all detained. "My lord, I don't want to die. Please spare my life." Zhang Yi suddenly climbed up, but he didn't dare to really climb to the ground. The saber was still on his neck. "Many people don't want to die, but they were killed by you." Zhang Zhong picked up the flying money on the table, sighed, and said in a very soft tone. Zhang Yi did not dare to struggle, but he could open his mouth. He unwillingly asked, "Sir, those people were in trouble before you came. It has nothing to do with you. Can't you just let it go this time?" At this time, Nian Wanjiu also shouted, "Sir, let's put the past behind us. At least when you came, nothing happened here. Why do you have to offend people? Even if you kill us, can you bring the dead back to life? My lord, you don't think that only Shin Guifu is capable of turning our province into this, do you? Sir, as long as you let me go, I will tell you. Even if I don't let you go, you still have to tell me. I don't believe that you can hide anything from me under the great torture. Indeed, I have nothing to do with those people who died, but I want you all to die. The reason is because you all turned around without saying anything to me after arriving at the execution field." Zhang Zhong did not give the 3 people any chance at all. It was useless to say anything. "My lord, not saying anything counts as a reason?" Nian Wanjiu unwillingly asked. "Yes, this is my reason," Zhang Zhong replied straightforwardly. At this time, Shin Guifu saw that there was no chance for him to live, so he asked in resignation, "Governor Zhang, can you tell me how you know about me? And how did you know that I received the news 2 hours ago?" Zhang Zhong thought for a moment and nodded. "Fine, I'll let you know why you died. You and that person usually transmit information very slowly." He did not dare to use the military and official methods to transmit information for fear of being discovered. Therefore, when he collected information and transmitted it, he used another method, which is the express delivery. In Yaozhou, no matter what the news is, it will arrive within a day, regardless of wind or rain. After leaving there, it is a 2-man 6-horse race. After reaching the official stop, as long as you spend some money, you can get supplies. It can be said that they travel day and night. An hour before you received the news, they had already arrived. Ah, could it be that they were detained when they arrived at the official stop? Shin Guifu continued to ask. "No, why would I be detained? The information you got was too simple and crude. It didn't even mention that I was the owner of the EMS. It seems like you guys didn't do a good job of gathering information. You guys used the EMS to find out about me, and then used them to send information. If I didn't know, what would I need them for?" Zhang Zhong did not care whether the 3 people knew or not. The 3 of them would definitely be killed. As for the worry of Nian Wanjiu pretending to be mysterious, he did not care. As the governor of a province, it was impossible for anyone to think about it. There were only so many things here. The output of the tribute and the salt were also there. If someone really wanted to get involved, it would be for this little thing. Those with little ability would be dealt with one by one. Those with great ability would not care about it, and would just throw it to the guards of the prince's mansion. Zhang Zhong, you have to think carefully. You do not have the right to kill us two county magistrates. You can only think about reporting it. When the higher-ups send people to investigate, we will tell them about your express delivery. Let's see what you will do in the future. Zhang Yi's mind turned quickly. He immediately thought of a new method of blackmail. Zhang Zhong did not care at all and walked out. One of the three people said to Zhang Yi, "Master did not plan to kill you. It rained heavily and caused a flood." Wulei County Magistrate Zhang Yi, Yushan County Magistrate Nian Wanjiu, and Shen Guifu, who came to do business, were guarding the most important place. In the end, they were unfortunately washed away by the flood. "No, I do not want to die. I have something to tell Master. Brother, help me pass a message. I will give you 100 strings of coins." Nian Wanjiu was scared. The little bit of hope he had just now had disappeared. The person holding him shook his head. "If you gave me that before, I would have dared to accept it. But now, no matter how much you give me, it is useless. You have money but not life to spend it. Let's go. Tell me what you know, and I will give you a quick death." Zhang Zhong quickly solved the matter. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to worry. They are too bold. Isn't it enough to only use the express delivery in the state? Why did they accept the business here? What if something happens midway? Who can bear the responsibility? Zhang Xiaobao had just received the news not long ago. He was happy that the news came in time. He was also worried that they had gone too far. There was no unified maintenance channel here. At the very least, they had to wait for the game store to open up everywhere. It would be best if the restaurant also opened up branches. At that time, they would not have to rely on the official rest stop, the hotel, or the game store to provide their own horses and food to form their own information transmission network. "Xiaobao, are you afraid that the news will be leaked?" Wang Wan thought about the speed of the person who came. The county magistrate of Yaozhou did not dare to use military horses. Otherwise, it would be the fastest speed for an emergency report. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. "I am not afraid of the news being leaked. I am afraid that Li Longji will not be willing to accept the news. If we use his official rest stop to send the letter, what if he also wants to use it? Won't we not have enough horses? The most important thing is that he did not get any benefits. We can't let the person who came to send the letter back. Mobilize the family's money and open hotels in various places. It doesn't matter if they are small. Buy good horses and ask them to wait for a while. After the arrangements are done, we will accept the business from other places. It is not easy at all. Who do you think can think of so many things before doing something? In fact, the most important thing to solve is the communication system. If there is a radio, it will not be so troublesome. If we want to send a message, we can just send a telegram. How does that thing work?" Wang Wan suddenly thought of the slow transmission of information. They actually had to use horses to transmit information. How fast could a horse run? How long can a horse run? It is better to fly a kite with the wind. After cutting the string, the kite can float for dozens of miles in a breath if the weather is good. Flying a kite. "Xiaobao, why don't we raise some pigeons? In the future, we can use pigeons to send messages. If we can pull a few hundred pigeons from the pigeon's house to other places, we can fly them a few hundred times. If others can tame them, we can also try." Wang Wan suddenly thought of a method to send messages over long distances, and said to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao actually had this idea long ago, but he does not know how to do it. When he heard Wang Wan mention it, he said, "But we don't know how to do it. Otherwise, we can ask others to see who knows how to do it. Sleep first. Tomorrow morning, we will go out for a walk. There are many strange people." "I think that is fine. I think that old man who helped your father is more powerful. Ask him where he is tomorrow." Wang Wan pulled a thin blanket over her navel and slept next to Zhang Xiaobao. After sleeping for a while, she suddenly said, "Xiaobao, why are you so cold? You are not afraid of the heat anymore." "Who knows? Go to sleep." Zhang Xiaobao muttered and moved to the side and fell asleep again. Zhang Zhong came back. He wanted to see his son, but he heard that his son was asleep. He could only go back to Jiangwang clan and tell them what happened just now. He also praised his son and daughter-in-law. The next morning, Zhang Zhong went to find Zhang Yi and Nian Wanjiu. He believed that after a night of interrogation, they should be able to get some information. Master, you're here. Zhang Yi told you what he knew, but Nian Wanjiu refused to open his mouth. He kept muttering, I can't say. If I say, I'll die. If I don't say, I'll die. I really couldn't pry open his mouth. As soon as the guard saw Zhang Zhong, they came forward to report. It seems that we have met a tough bone. Let them go first. Don't let them die. Now is not the time to die. As long as they don't interfere with what I am doing, it will be fine. When I am done, I will send them to the capital. Zhang Zhong did not expect Nian Wanjiu to be so stubborn. Since he did not want to say anything, it was fine. Master, you are not going to kill them? This person thought that Zhang Zhong was going to kill them. Zhang Zhong waved his hand. A country has its own laws and a family has its own rules. They should not be killed by me. Why should I kill them? Even if they are sent to the capital, they have the ability to ask the court to let them go. That is the court's business. I can't just casually kill them. If I kill them, I will not be able to control them in the future. If I kill someone who should not be killed, won't I regret it for the rest of my life? Master is right. If you kill them, you may be wrongly accused. Master, do you still want to go in and take a look? This person respectfully said. Chapter 418. When Zhang Zhong went to work, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not stay idle. They took more than 20 guards and went out for a stroll. The two of them did not want to suddenly encounter any danger when they were walking outside. Places that were easy to encounter danger, such as the mountains, were absolutely not to go. They wandered around the county, especially places where there might be people who raised birds, such as the market. If there was anyone who raised pigeons, they would have to ask carefully. The two of them strolled slowly. There were indeed quite a few people in the market, but most of them were selling things. If they couldn't sell anything, they would barter. The goods they sold weren't anything good. They were all daily necessities. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan walked for more than 100 feet, but they didn't see anything that caught their eye. There was no trace of people who sold birds. Not to mention birds, even those who sold flowers, fish, and insects could not be seen. This is the effect of not having money. It has made people put away some of their playful mood. The only thing they can do is to think of ways to work more and then eat their fill. It is really too pitiful. Wang Wan looked at the clothes that the people around were wearing. She did not see many new clothes. The so-called new clothes were not patched. Even the people in the shop could not do this. Even the people in the shop were wearing patched clothes. It will get better, as long as they do not lose hope in their hearts. I guess the people in the shop are deliberately wearing torn clothes. Let's go. There is a shop selling the 4 treasures of the study in front of us. Let's go inside and ask. Zhang Xiaobao pulled Wang Wan forward under the protection of a group of guards. When they arrived at the door of the shop, the person inside was standing near the door and looking outside. Do you have anything good to sell here? Zhang Xiaobao asked. What good things? If you think it is good, then it is good. If you think it is not good, then it is not good even if I exaggerate. The man standing at the door said politely. At the same time, he kept looking at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He also liked children, especially cute ones like Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan entered the store and looked at the items. They found that there was indeed nothing good, so they believed the man's words. Wang Wan curiously looked around the shop and asked, Are you a waiter here? Buddy, I don't have the money to hire a waiter. I only have enough food to eat. If I hire another waiter, both me and the waiter will starve to death, the man said helplessly. Oh, so that's how it is. Then why are there so many patches on your clothes? I see that some of the patches don't seem to be places that can be rubbed off normally. Wang Wan pointed at the man's clothes and asked. The man looked at Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao warily and couldn't answer for a while. Zhang Xiaobao seemed to understand something and said to the man, My name is Zhang Xiaobao. I am the son of the new provincial governor. You don't have to be afraid. After Zhang Xiaobao's words, the man immediately let out a sigh of relief. He waved his hand and signaled for Zhang Xiaobao and the others to follow him. He turned around a door that led inside and passed through a corridor. He led the group of people to the outside of a room. If I knew you were the young master, I wouldn't have been afraid. To be honest, these patches were specially sewn on. Otherwise, if the bailiffs of the county saw them, they would think that there is still money to be made in my shop. It is the same for other shops. Some ordinary people with slightly better families also wear patched clothes when they go out. Usually, the things sold in the shop and the stalls outside are all ordinary goods. They definitely don't dare to display good goods. If that's the case, they will be snatched away and won't be given a single copper coin. If the two of you really want to buy something, then go into this room and take a look. The things inside are all good. Since you are the family of the new great official, I won't make money. I will directly sell at the cost. As long as there is a great official here, the future days will be good. The man stood at the door and said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan with a smile. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan suddenly understood. At the same time, they were a bit angry. When they got off the ship, they sent people to collect information. They actually didn't find out this news. They failed in their duty. The two of them nodded at the same time, and let the man lead them in to take a look. When they entered the room, they saw that it was indeed different from the things displayed outside. Zhang Xiaobao came to the front of the pen rack and looked. He pointed at a pen and asked, "Shopkeeper, how much is this pen made of weasel hair?" "Let me see. If you want to buy it, just give me 60 copper coins. The cost is the cost." The shopkeeper came over and reported the price. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. 60 copper coins is indeed not a profit. It seems that the price you paid is also low. I will give you 100 copper coins. I will buy it. As Xiaobao spoke, he naturally didn't need to take out money. He was still young and couldn't carry too much money on him. The person next to him passed the money over. The shopkeeper was very embarrassed when he picked it up and said, "Actually, the cost of this pen is only 56 copper coins. I just said 4 copper coins. The space is also considered as storage money. I didn't ask for much. Do you know who raises birds here? My father likes little birds, so I want to buy 2. Zhang Xiaobao felt that this person was too kind. He kept so much stock and only asked for an extra 4 copper coins. It was normal to say that it was 70 copper coins. To buy such a pen in the capital, one couldn't even think about it without 200 copper coins. The shopkeeper held the money in his hand and was a bit excited, saying, "Actually, it is cheap. The people who hunt here also can't sell their prey at a high price. The people outside don't come to buy much. It is not worth it for the people here to go out once. You ask about the birds, there really isn't one. However, if the new good official wants one, he only needs to post a notice. Then many people will go up the mountain to catch birds. A good official, isn't it easy to get a bird? No. Oh, then forget it. If he can't post a notice, how can he be a good official? Then we will leave now. I wish the shopkeeper's business prospers." Zhang Xiaobao didn't ask about the birds, but he knew the attitude of the local people towards his father. This could be considered a gain. As they spoke, the group walked out again. The shopkeeper followed behind them. When they were about to reach the door, the shopkeeper said, "Young master, why don't the two of you take some paper back? This paper is good for practicing calligraphy. Although it is not as good as good paper, it is actually a good official who posted a notice. He is a good official who doesn't force people to do things. Those birds that sound good indeed don't exist. However, in our county there is a family that raises pigeons. It is Old Man Chang. His pigeons are not bad, but it is a pity that they don't sell them. The bailiffs are the same. His family has a few strong guards. The bailiffs have suffered a few losses and don't know why they don't dare to provoke them." "Pigeons? Which family? Tell us the place, and we will buy all the paper you have." As soon as Zhang Xiaobao heard the word pigeons, he immediately became energetic. What he wanted was pigeons. While asking for money, he pulled the shopkeeper and asked him to lead the way. "Follow this road to the west. After passing the government office, then the county office. After walking for more than 1,000 steps, you will see a small wine shop. After going around that house, you will see a small courtyard. Old Man Chang lives in the courtyard." When the shopkeeper heard that the new young master bought all the paper, he was very happy and stood at the door to show the way. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan carefully noted it down. They didn't care whether the paper was properly brought or not, and directly trotted in that direction. Is anyone here? Help me shout. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao found the courtyard. They stood outside and shouted towards the inside. They also asked the bodyguards who followed them to shout. The bodyguards' voices were very loud. Is anyone here? Come out and breathe. Hurry up, or we will tear down the courtyard. A bodyguard shouted foolishly. His shout made Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan tremble. They hurriedly said to him, "Who let you shout like that? Be polite. It seems that I will have to give you more training in the future. It is easy to get into trouble when you go out. It's still the two children who are sensible. This old man is really afraid of others tearing down the yard. You're Xiaobao, you're Yaowan, smart and quick-witted, aren't you?" As soon as Zhang Xiaobao finished scolding the bodyguards, an old man came out from inside. He was supported by someone and walked to the courtyard gate. In fact, it was just a fence. There was no high wall at all, so they could easily see the people inside. The old man asked someone to open the door while smiling at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao were not surprised at all. The only thing they did not expect was that the person who raised the pigeons was this old man. Wang Wan's mouth moved. Do you think the old man knows us so well through the pigeons? Does he know anyone in the capital? I think so. So the pigeons raised by the old man are not ordinary pigeons, but the carrier pigeons we are looking for. This is good. Let's see how we can persuade the old man to raise them for us. Zhang Xiaobao also thought of this and replied to Wang Wan. The two people walked forward, and the bodyguards behind them followed closely. When they reached the door of the house, the old man suddenly said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "The space inside is small. Can you let your bodyguards wait outside?" When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan heard this, they raised their heads at the same time and looked into the old man's eyes. They did not see any conspiracy, but they still did not dare to take it lightly. Zhang Xiaobao hesitantly asked, "Can we bring two people in and let them stand? We don't need too much space." "Okay, let's bring two people in." "Then let's bring two people in. The little girl has a lot of thoughts. She can't be tricked." The old man did not refuse this time, and led the four people in. Wang Wan said sweetly, "Grandpa just praised us for being clever. If we don't bring two people, Grandpa will not be able to take responsibility if something happens. You little girl are not ordinary. No wonder Minister Bai praised you as rare in heaven and earth. Tell me, how did you find me? Why did you find me?" Chapter 419. Wang Wan's trust in Zhang Xiaobao made her stand there and give the old man a smile. The old man put down his hand, looked at Zhang Xiaobao and said, "Kid, you can't let Cuckoo take such risks in the future. Can you guarantee that you can kill me in one go? Or can you make me unable to hurt Cuckoo? I used to be a guard, then a bodyguard, and then a housekeeper. I have seen many things." Zhang Xiaobao coughed and let go of his hands. He didn't make a sound. Wang Wan could tell that the old man wasn't an ordinary person. He didn't mean to hurt them. Otherwise, based on what the old man said just now, if it was true, he would at most suffer some injuries when dealing with the two of them. Since there was no danger for the time being, they decided to chat first. They couldn't ask about the pigeons right away. Wang Wan smiled sweetly again. Old Grandpa knows Grandpa Bai, but Grandpa Bai has never mentioned old Grandpa. When we return to the capital, we'll ask him why he didn't tell us earlier. Little girl, are you still testing this old man? I know him, but your Grandpa Bai's status is much higher than mine. I am just a housekeeper. In the past, when I saw him, I would greet him. This time, if you didn't come, he wouldn't have told me, especially you two little guys. That letter praised you again and again. Seeing you two today, I know that hearing about you is not as good as meeting you in person. You are really extraordinary. One dares to use himself to test me, and the other is standing in a position that can threaten me. Although I can't guess how he can hurt me, the kid's position makes me very uncomfortable. Little girl, if he moves, will you move? This time, the old man reached out to touch Wang Wan's head again. Just as he was about to touch Wang Wan's head, he bent his fingers like a claw and grabbed Wang Wan's head. At this moment, Zhang Xiaobao moved. He used his elbow to hit the old man's waist. At the same time, His other hand had already pulled out the steel needle from his sleeve. His elbow didn't touch the old man, but the hand holding the steel needle actually stabbed the old man from behind. It was impossible for ordinary people to do this. They wouldn't use any strength, and it would dislocate the arm. However, Zhang Xiaobao could do it. This was the escape torture technique. It was used to break free from bindings or handcuffs, and it could also be used to attack unexpectedly. Wang Wan also reacted immediately. She tilted her head back and used the iron bridge technique. Her legs left the ground, and she used the tip of her foot to tap the old man's calf. If one looked carefully, they could see a little cold light in the pom-pom in front of her shoe. Although the old man was just being supported by others, his reaction was not slow at all. Regardless of Zhang Xiaobao's elbow that hit his waist, he directly reached out to grab Zhang Xiaobao's hand that came out from behind. It seemed to be very difficult. He had to use his arm to slightly push Zhang Xiaobao away. Otherwise he wouldn't be able to touch the hand that attacked from behind. While blocking Zhang Xiaobao's attack, he also had to deal with Wang Wan. The old man seemed to feel that Wang Wan's kick wasn't simple. He didn't raise his leg to block, but raised the leg that Wang Wan was about to kick backwards, dodging Wang Wan's attack. At the same time, he bent forward and grabbed Wang Wan's calf when he missed. Zhang Xiaobao didn't use his elbow to attack the old man's bites. Instead, he took advantage of the old man's hard resistance and suddenly raised his right leg from the side. Wei Wei bent her body towards the old man, so that the steel needle in her right hand moved forward a little more. Her right leg was also able to kick the old man's body. The small velvet ball on Zhang Xiaobao's foot also flashed with a cold light. Wang Wan dodged, and when her attack didn't hit the old man, she first used her hand to support her body. When she supported herself, her body slid backwards, and she turned 180 degrees. She kicked the guard's leg who hadn't reacted yet, and her foot rubbed against the ground with all her strength. Wang Wan's body immediately slanted up, and her head just happened to be facing the old man. She put her hands together and separated them, and with half of her arm bent, she bounced towards the old man. The old man had just turned sideways to avoid Zhang Xiaobao's kick, when he saw Wang Wan flying towards him in such a posture. Moreover, Zhang Xiaobao's side had already bent down, and along with the movement of the steel needle in his hand, he had no choice but to give up the idea of standing still. He used his hand to support himself against the wall beside him, and his body directly moved back 2 feet. At this time, Wang Wan had already bounced to the old man's position just now. Zhang Xiaobao stopped with his back sweep, and with a spring of his leg, Wang Wan used her elbow to support herself, and directly came to Zhang Xiaobao's side. Zhang Xiaobao half squatted, while Wang Wan stood sideways. Both of them had 2 steel needles in their hands. The old man seemed to have not done such vigorous exercise for a long time. After dodging, he coughed. After a while he said, "Good skills, even if you are using weapons. If I'm not wrong, the steel needles in your hands and the sharp knives hidden in the little things on your feet are all poisonous, right? No wonder you are so bold. 2 little kids. It seems like any one of you can deal with them. If that's really the case, if this old man didn't overestimate you in advance, I would have really suffered losses. This old man knows that you wouldn't do that even if you could take this old man's life, but I can't run away from some losses. Xiaobao, what's wrong with your arm? How can you attack from behind? And Cuckoo, at that time, you couldn't see Xiaobao's movements at all. How did you know that he could hold me back? Mine was trained." As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he rolled up his right sleeve. Inside there was a hidden arrow launcher. There were already 3 hidden arrows on it. Trust and tacit understanding. Wang Wan also rolled up her left sleeve. There were also 3 hidden arrows. This time the old man was speechless. The other party still had a backup plan, and he was forced to this point. Although he was a little older, he could even deal with an ordinary imperial guard. The 2 little kids were more than 5 years old, and their nominal age was 6 years old. Even if they were a little older, like 8 or 9 years old children, and they were still holding weapons that they had to dodge, it was still very impressive. It seemed that it was not easy for ordinary people to harm the 2 little kids. Their cooperation was too good, and their attacks were all killing moves. Needless to say, when the needles pierced the body, Blood would be drawn and the throat would be sealed. Moreover, there were hidden arrows that were not used. Not to mention other things, when Xiao Bao stabbed the needles in the back, he used a hidden arrow. He would definitely be shot, and there was no way for him to dodge. At this time, the two imperial guards came over. One of them asked with concern, "Little young master, little miss, are the two of you okay?" Zhang Xiaobao rubbed the arm that had just used the detoxification technique and looked at the two helplessly. "Even if there is something wrong, I can't count on you. When we go back and start training, if something really happens, Cuckoo and I will have died 100 times before you can react." Wang Wan rubbed the back of Zhang Xiaobao's arm. The detoxification technique was not that easy. It could make two handcuffed arms at the back to the front in an instant. It was easy to imagine the pain at the place where the bones were connected. She was also very dissatisfied with the two imperial guards. She glared at them. "In the future, I will specially add this kind of reaction training. The two of you are far from enough. Less than 3,000 words free." Chapter 420. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't do anything to the guards. They had just trained for more than a year. It was impossible to expect them to be like the imperial guards. They could only train them slowly in the future and teach them what to do. The old man now looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, the two children, more and more pleasing to the eye. The two children cooperated very well in the fight just now. Their movements were clean and neat. When they grew up, the two of them would have no problem dealing with the guards in the palace together. This was the combination of two swords, right? It seemed that the two masters in Bai Shu's letter should be a man and a woman who taught two disciples respectively. In this way, the two masters could be said to be very knowledgeable and knew everything. The two guards were frightened. They still didn't understand what had happened just now. They only saw the young master, and the young lady quickly gesturing with the old man. The old man retreated, and the young master's arm seemed to be injured. They didn't know anything else, but it was too fast. "You two go out and wait outside. Xiao Bao and I will talk to Grandpa." Wang Wan helped Zhang Xiaobao massage the back of his arm, and ordered the two guards. The two guards knew that the young lady was a little dissatisfied with them, so they retreated embarrassedly. They secretly decided that they must practice martial arts well. Not to mention going to the battlefield to kill the enemy, they must at least protect the people they were supposed to protect. In the future, if the young master and the young lady were to do something, they wouldn't be able to live anymore. "Grandpa, let's go inside. Grandpa is really powerful. If you had a knife in your hand, Xiao Bao and you and Xiao Bao should have used the sleeve arrows." No one would have thought that two 8 or 9-year-old children would hide hidden weapons in their sleeves. And even less would have guessed that the two of you would react so quickly and cooperate so well. "Tell me, what do you want this old man to do this time?" The old man did not wait for Wang Wan to finish praising him, and praised the two of them. The old man was indeed very satisfied. From the position before the attack to when he retreated, the two of them were always so perfect. One was the main attacker, and the other was the support. Wang Wan was still smiling sweetly. "Grandpa, we don't have anything to do. We were just taking a stroll, and then we came to your place. We heard that there was an old man living here, and we saw him on the shore. So, Xiao Bao and I wanted to talk to you and ask about the things here, so that we can go back and tell Xiao Bao's father." "Oh, strolling? Then you guys really know how to stroll. Come in." Xiao Bao's move just now was really frightening. It caught him off guard and caught him off guard. How could his arm do that kind of action? Detoxification technique, good skill. It must not be easy to practice, right? The old man led the two of them into the house. The layout of the house was very simple. There was a couch, a chair and a table. There were a few small stools on the side, and a small table in front of them. There was nothing else. Zhang Xiaobao shook his arm and felt much better. He would be fine after resting for 2 more days. The detoxification technique was not that easy to use. He consciously sat down on the small stool with Wang Wan, and then said to the old man, "Grandpa, you can't learn this skill now. Little kids can learn it, but it's too harmful to the body. It's very painful, and it may leave behind a root cause of illness in the future. This process is very difficult. Oh, if it's so difficult, how did you learn it? The old man also understood how much damage that kind of action just now would cause to the joints of the bones. How else can I learn it? I clenched my teeth and endured it. Taking advantage of the fact that my body is flexible at this age, I can't just use it for fun. Every time I use it, I need to recover for a few days. When I go back, I have to apply medicine. Zhang Xiaobao explained. Then does Cuckoo know how to do it too? The old man asked again. Wang Wan nodded. She only knows a few simple actions. She's not as good as Xiaobao. Grandpa, do you feel that it's humid to live here? It's by the sea. When the sea breeze blows, it brings the moisture of the sea here. Also, it always rains here. If you feel that it's humid, don't live in such a house. Live in a bamboo building. Humid? How can it not be humid? I've long gotten used to it. Bamboo buildings are good, but the people don't have the time and money to build bamboo buildings. They work all day long just to eat. Since you're here, I'm waiting for you to help the people live a good life. The old man was aware of this. However, in the past he could only dream of building bamboo buildings. Now he had placed his hopes on the Zhang family. Bai Shu's letter had detailed some of the things that the Zhang family had done. It seemed like they could manage Luzhou well. When he thought of this, the old man said, "The 18 ships that followed you here are very useful. You can ship the local goods out and sell them for more money. I wonder if your family is willing to do this? The land route is controlled by Qinzhou. When the goods are transported, the officials there will take some benefits. When the goods are sold and the benefits are included, there will be no more profit. In the east is Lianzhou, and in the middle is a strait that cuts off part of Luzhou. There are mountains on that side, and only some mountain people who might not even have a household register live there. It's not easy to talk to them. If you don't go through that narrow strait, it'll take half a day to get there and half a day to get back. Moreover, the local people in Lianzhou live a similar life as here. It would be best if you could teach us how to raise them. We can use the method of hatching poultry to exchange with you." Zhang Xiaobao also knew the importance of carrier pigeons. If he did not take out some substantial benefits, he could not do it. He gritted his teeth and prepared to take out the method of hatching poultry as an equivalent exchange. The old man's eyes lit up. He hesitated and said, "Your family's method of hatching poultry is not a long-term thing. Don't think that it's just poultry. When the poultry are in the nest, they don't lay eggs. At that time, a chicken will lay less than 10 eggs. Some will even lay less than 20 eggs. There is a big difference between a few dozen more eggs and a few dozen fewer eggs. It's good to take it out. Although your family has already taken out many things, there are still people who want good things. As long as you remember that the emperor remembers what your family has offered, it's fine. Wait for me to write a letter to the master and ask. If master agrees, I will help you train some people to raise flying slaves. My master is currently idle at home. In fact, he is busy with Meiguan Road and Du Ridge. My master's surname is Zhang. I wonder if the pigeon eggs can be hatched? Zhang Jiuling? He's back." Wang Wan immediately thought of this person, and was especially happy. Zhang Jiuling's home was not too far from here. In the future, she could have Zhang Xiaobao's father write letters to them. He's back. "Little girl, what do you plan to do? Do you want to spend money to help fix those 2 places?" The old man asked with a smile. "Yes, we must. We are not sure if the pigeons can be hatched. We can try. First, we won't tell anyone about the hatching method. When we have enough ducks here, Uncle Zhang will return to the capital. Then we'll have Uncle Zhang bring the method back." Zhang Xiaobao changed his mind again. The old man was stunned. "How do you know that my master can go back?" "Of course he can go back after the places are fixed. Grandpa, tomorrow, no, in a moment, I will send someone over to learn how to train and raise pigeons from you. Give me a number, and my family will immediately pay to fix the roads for Uncle Zhang." Zhang Xiaobao changed the topic. He was prepared to bleed and use money to exchange for the method. "Well, 1,000 strings of coins should be enough. We can't let your family pay for it. Find a few smart people. Why don't the 2 of you follow along?" The old man liked the 2 children. They were smart and sensible. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. 1,000 strings of coins is too little. My family will pay 10,000 strings of coins to let the people who are fixing the roads eat better, and let Uncle Zhang relax. Cuckoo and I can't learn anymore. We will definitely find smart people. In a moment, I will have lunch with Grandpa. Grandpa, you must give me face. Reward, I couldn't ask for more. Baigo has mentioned many times in his letters about you two accompanying him to eat. The old man smiled with relief. He rubbed the two children's heads with a kind look on his face. Chapter 421. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did a big thing. The old man did not ask Zhang Xiaobao if he could decide on the money. Bai Shu had said in his letter that when the two kids did something, their family seemed to be very supportive. When they decided on something, they would tell their family and their family would agree. This made the old man very puzzled. Why? Could it be that the family deliberately raised the two kids to do things outside? Or did the master predict this and tell the two kids in advance? It was not until he saw the two kids that he figured it out. Although the two kids were young, they spoke and acted like little adults. They were well-behaved and steady. No wonder Baigo liked them. It was so comfortable to be with the two kids. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan prepared to cook something for the old man. They went to look for ingredients. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were at peace with the old man, the prefecture was not peaceful. Zhang Zhong naturally would not let go of the people he caught. Shen Guifu wanted to punish them directly. As for the person behind this, Li Sun would bear the responsibility. He did not care what the Shen family thought. He also had to send a memorial to ask the other side to investigate the Shen family. Li Sun and the people he followed and the money he brought this time were all confiscated. The two arrested county magistrates were also sent to keep an eye on them. Zhang Zhong finished writing the impeachment memorials and had them send them to the capital through normal channels. When they arrived at the capital and received the approval, the construction here was almost done. The original local people in the two counties were investigated to see if there were any serious crimes. If there were, they would be sentenced according to the crime. If not, they would be educated and continue to be employed. The officials under them were counted. Those who were involved were all arrested. The prison cells in the prefecture were almost full. Those who were not local and could not be beheaded were sent to the docks to build a stronger dock. After a few days, when the people who were locked up became obedient, they would also be sent to work. There was no need to keep idle people. After arranging the affairs of the two counties, Zhang Zhong posted a notice to let the people know the situation. One day, in just one day, two people that the commoners hated were arrested. At the same time, a few other people were arrested as well. The commoners could not believe their eyes. The new good official was too amazing. In just a few days, he had been here. He had the daily necessities, and the money of those who wanted to do something was also in his hands. He killed those who needed to be killed and captured those who needed to be captured. He acted swiftly and decisively. Xiao Sanzi, what do you think a good new official can do? I really didn't expect that those 4 people from the division, or whatever, didn't dare to jump out and cause trouble. An old woman did not know how to read. It was the people from the inner courtyard of the Zhang family and Wang family who stood beside the notice and told the commoners the contents of the notice. There were too few commoners here who could read. Now the commoners were used to calling Zhang Zhong a good official. A good official. The person who was asked was a young man who had just returned from the seaside. He was carrying a basket of prawns and was preparing to set up a stall to sell them. It took more than 2 hours to walk from the seaside to here. He wanted to sell them quickly, but when he saw the notice, he stood there and listened. When the old woman asked, the young man thought about it and shook his head. I don't know. Anyway, it will be better in the future. Since 2 days ago, no one has come to rob me when I sell things. It seems that what the good official said that day was not wrong. My family has money. I want to borrow some money to buy a bigger boat so that I can fish more in the future. Okay, I want to change. If I have too much fish, even if I can't sell them, I can eat them as rations. It's better to dry them and keep them. It's better than starving. When you earn money, you must remember to return it to the good official. The good official should have money. I want to live a few more years and see what the good official can change this place. The old woman smiled so much that her eyes almost couldn't be seen. At this time, a person came from the east side of the street and ran directly to Xiao San. Xiao San hurriedly greeted him. This person was a manager of a restaurant in the city. He usually bought the fish and prawns that Xiao San caught. Uncle Xian, are you also here to see the notice? Xiao San asked respectfully. He also turned his body to the side to let Wei Wei see the prawns behind him, hoping that the person would buy them. What's there to look at? I've also posted one on my side. I'm happy to know that the scourge has been caught. Little San, I'm here to tell you a good thing. I thought you would arrive earlier today, but I didn't expect you to not arrive yet. I came out to take a look. I wanted Aku to look for you, but Aku is shy. Uncle Xian looked at Xiao San and said happily. Xiao San knew that Aku was Uncle Xian's daughter. Every time he went to sell things, Aku was in charge. What a beautiful girl. Unfortunately, his family was poor and he didn't dare to show any trace of affection. Hearing Uncle Xian mention Aku, Xiao San lowered his head, as if he was afraid of this name. His voice also became small. Uncle Xian, what good thing is it? I really don't know. It's a very good thing. Some people here want to cooperate with some local businesses. My shop is one of them. There are also fishermen. If you are willing to fish by yourself, you don't have to do anything. If you have other ideas, you can join the fishing company. The fishing company has big boats that can go farther into the sea. The things you catch will be better than what you get here. When the time comes, the people in the fishing company will sell the things and share them with the people who join. They will also give money for the sick people, make clothes for them, and fix their houses. The people who join just need to fish and don't need to worry about selling things. It's said that the wages they earn will be several times higher than what they do by themselves. Uncle Xian patted Xiao San's shoulder and said. He thought that Xiao San was a good person, and always wanted to marry his daughter to him. Xiao San was surprised and asked, if I join them and catch 100 caddies of fish, they won't be able to give me 100 caddies of fish? Will they deduct a part of it? You can catch 100 caddies of fish because they give you the boat and net. They also help you sell the fish. Do you want to get it? You can't be so heartless. Uncle Xian was a little unhappy. That's not what I mean. I mean how much they deduct. If they deduct too much, they will have to make clothes for the people who join them and fix their houses. If they deduct too little, they will lose money. We can't let them lose money, Xiao San quickly explained. Uncle Xian was satisfied. I'm happy that Xiao San thinks this way. Join them. Who cares how much they deduct? As long as it's more than what you earned before, it's worth it. I don't think they will lose money. If you can catch more hawksbill turtles, you will have more money. These are tributes. Do a good job and build a new house. Aku can live a good life with you in the future. Uncle Xian, I don't deserve. Why don't you? If I say you can, then you can. You were late today. Aku is still worried. Come back with me. I want all the shrimps in your basket. Remember to do a good job in the future. Uncle Xian didn't wait for Xiao San to finish. He pulled Xiao San and started to walk back. They had just taken 2 steps when a new notice was posted. They had to stop and wait for it to be read. A servant girl in the inner courtyard of the Zhang family stood under the notice and said to the people gathered around, from today onwards, all hawksbill turtles and other kinds of turtles are not allowed to dig up eggs on the beach. Even if they catch the small ones, they will be released. In the future, we will dig some large ponds on the beach and put some weak hawksbill turtles and other kinds of turtles in them. Now we will find someone who is most familiar with these things and will be in charge of this in the future. You must know what these things like to eat. You must be able to tell which ones are strong and which ones are weak when you see them. Sign up here and tell us about your family. Our people will take note of it. You can't lie. If you lie, you will be beaten and sent to the docks to do manual labor. You won't be paid. The people didn't understand why they couldn't dig up eggs. Those eggs were very delicious. They also didn't know why they were raised. There were some in the sea and they could be caught. If they were raised, they would grow too slowly. How long would it take to raise them? Someone asked this question. The servant girl looked at that person and said angrily, "You only think about yourself? If you don't leave something for your descendants and they are caught and lost, how will your descendants live? People who go hunting in the mountains know that those with cubs are not hunted. What's the difference between digging up eggs and killing the cubs? Let me say this first. These are the words of my master. In the future he will send people to watch. If anyone dares to dig up eggs and cause trouble, don't blame my master for being angry if they are caught. If my master is angry, even if there is no law, my master will find a way to make your life difficult." When the people heard that the good official valued this, they nodded. Xiao San said loudly, "My father knows how to do this. I will sign up for my father. We will listen to whatever the good official says. If anyone doesn't listen, they will be going against me." When he shouted, the other people also shouted. They felt that the servant girl was right. If they were caught and lost, what would happen to their descendants in the future? They weren't afraid of those things growing slowly. After they died, they could leave it for their sons to continue raising. People in the crowd began to stand up and sign up. Those who knew each other also recommended. The mistress reported her family's situation. After the other party recorded it, she pressed her thumbprint. She turned to Uncle Xian and said happily, "Uncle Xian, I didn't expect that they would even take in people who can't walk. Now my father will have a job to do, and our family will have more money. Your father is quite capable. If he hadn't been pushed onto the reef and broken his leg, he would be considered a capable person. Now that the person who pushed your father has been beheaded, your family's life will be better in the future. Tomorrow, I will talk to your father about the matter between the two families. We can't delay it any longer. If we delay it any longer, Aku will become an old maid." Uncle Xian was also happy. He also didn't expect that a person with bad legs would be accepted by a good official. After his daughter married over, she wouldn't have to suffer. The two of them talked as they walked. They talked about the past and their expectations for the future. The sea breeze blew, bringing along the clouds in the sky. Gradually the sky darkened. However, the two of them didn't feel gloomy at all. Instead, they felt more comfortable. "Let's go. Wash away all the old things and make this place clean." Xiao San shouted toward the sky when he arrived at the entrance of Uncle Xian's store. Chapter 422. Pedestrians were in a hurry. Dark clouds covered the sky, and the sadness of the past was gone. Today people were busy cutting meat and mixing noodles. Children were standing by the stove. Outside the window, it was drizzling. People seemed to want to let the heavy rain wash away the previous hard days. When it was overcast, they bought some meat and took some vegetables home. They either fried the meat or made dumplings. Children at home swallowed their saliva and waited beside them. When the misty rain fell, it was time to eat. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also busy. The wontons were called wontons. The wontons were stuffed with seafood, prawns, and soup boiled with shark fin. They were poured into the wontons and rolled out. Then they put pickled mustard in the bowls, some dried shrimps, seaweed, and coriander on top of the wontons. 3 bowls were carried to the table. The old man stood aside and watched the 2 little guys working together tacitly. He thought the 2 little guys would just cook some noodles. There were already cut noodles in the kitchen, but he didn't expect that they would chop the wontons and make wontons. They were busy but not in a mess. They were so nimble. When the 3 bowls were placed on the table, the old man couldn't wait to taste one of them. He ate one of them, which was fragrant and fresh. After drinking a mouthful of soup, the old man stopped. He was a little reluctant to eat it. Looking at the 2 kids who were slurping the soup happily, he said with a sentimental smile, "Brother." No wonder Baigo wrote in a letter that many people went to between the clouds and the water. Some people went there just to eat. He also ate there every day. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan can make such delicious food. You can imagine how good the food between the clouds and the water is. No, you have to add conditions for raising and training pigeons. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were eating to their heart's content. The fresh shrimps in the sea were really delicious. When they suddenly heard the old man's words, they stopped at the same time. Zhang Xiaobao still had the wonton in his mouth that he hadn't eaten yet. He reached out with his chopsticks to pick up the white chicken that was also in the pot, and placed it on the old man's plate. He asked in a muffled voice, "Grandpa, what are your conditions?" Wang Wan nodded with a piece of seaweed hanging from the corner of her mouth. "In the future, you will have to arrange my meals for me. I can't always let Bai Go get all the benefits." The old man was very thick-skinned. He didn't even blush when he said this. Only then did Zhang Xiaobao swallow the yenten and let out a long sigh. "Grandpa, next time, don't say such things out of the blue. I almost choked. Isn't it just a meal? In the future, if Grandpa wants to go out, you can go to the Ocean Wave Pavilion to eat, or have the Ocean Wave Pavilion deliver it to you. My family bought it and even brought a chef over. He's the original chef of Between the Clouds and the Water. The chefs here were learning from him, and the waiters had also brought some over. The taste was not worse than other places, especially the seafood. They could eat it on the spot according to the old grandpa's taste. When the time came, they could customize the menu for the old grandpa. That should be fine, right? It's just a meal. Why are you so serious? It's scary." Wang Wan picked up some seaweed for the old man and said, "It's scary. Grandpa, eat quickly. It won't taste good if it lumps up. You can't wait until all the soup is in your mouth. If you like yenten, Xiao Bao and I will come here often to cook for you in the future." The old man looked at the two kids and blinked hard. He raised his hand and rubbed the corner of his eyes with his sleeve. He stuffed the food that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan gave him into his mouth. Then he scooped up a big yenten and chewed it vigorously. He was not afraid of the heat at all. No wonder Bai Go said that I'm enjoying life. He must be not used to the sudden absence of two people over there. Xiao Bao, find them later. I'll live a few more years and enjoy life for a few more years. I promise I'll teach them well. I can see that your family members must be living a comfortable life. They cook so well, and when they pick up food for me, they are so natural. This is a habit they have developed. The old man was a little jealous of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's families. He didn't know how the two families taught their children. Comparing other children with the two kids, it made all the parents in the world feel ashamed. When Zhang Xiaobao heard the old man mention his family, he smiled happily and said, "It's comfortable. Every family member has a separate medicinal cuisine recipe. Grandpa, go to the Ocean Wave Pavilion first to familiarize yourself with it, and then you'll have it." Wang Wan also smiled sweetly and said to the old man, "Grandpa, you were so good at that time. Why don't you find some people to train in the future? You can watch from the side. If anyone doesn't do well, you can beat or scold them. There's also a sand table. When the terrain is explored, I'll play with you. Or you can live in my house. I can chat with my grandpa and Xiao Bao's grandpa." Wang Wan found that the old man was lonely, so she wanted to find something for him to do. There were many chess and card games at home, and there was also a gateball game. She thought that the old man wouldn't be so lonely. Her grandpa and Xiao Bao's grandpa didn't care about other people's status. They wouldn't give in to each other. Okay, tonight I'll go to the Ocean Wave Pavilion first. There's no need to stay at your place. If you have nothing to do, you can go there and take a look. Tell me, how do you plan to manage this place? Did your father ever tell you about it?" The old man promised Wang Wan, then looked at Zhang Xiaobao and asked. Zhang Xiaobao swallowed the soup and nodded. He did. In the future, everyone here will work together and set up various large and small trading companies. These companies will then form a chamber of commerce. When buying and selling things, they will negotiate the price with others. This way, we won't have to worry about others deliberately lowering the price. Good idea, but it's a pity that your family has to do this. In other places, the families of officials don't have such methods. Those who do have methods have to be coerced by the officials. They also have to compete with each other. It's very rare for them to work together. There aren't many big businesses here, and they just happen to lack a leader. You also don't have to worry about the government interfering. In addition, your family has a large fleet with new sales, so it's convenient to transport goods. The goods here aren't easy to sell because there's a sea in Qinzhou and the surrounding areas. All the goods are the same. If you ship them to the capital or Sichuan and then ship them back from there, It seems that you won't be able to sell them. The old man heard Zhang Xiaobao's idea and felt that it was feasible. Moreover, in the future, the locals would be able to earn money and help analyze the situation. As he spoke, he found a problem. There weren't many people here, and the goods shipped back from the other side would soon be enough for the people here to stop buying. Zhang Xiaobao saw that the old man only cared about talking and didn't eat, so he put down his chopsticks and said to the old man, "Old grandpa, do you think that when those goods are sold to a certain extent, the supply will exceed the demand? It's simple. Repair the roads. Before those goods come and go, we'll repair the roads that lead to the other places. Since Qinzhou is blocking us, we'll repair the roads to Lianzhou, Sumaozhou, Shangxizhou and Fengzhou. We can build bridges in Lianzhou. The Chamber of Commerce will pay for it, and the provincial government will also pay for it. We'll have the 4 prefectures provide manpower, and we'll pay for it. As long as we harden our hearts, we'll be able to repair the roads in less than a year." Wang Wan also said, "When the time comes, if they want goods from the north, there will be caravans coming here to buy them. At the same time, they'll transport the goods from the other prefectures to sell. In fact, it's just that we lack a provincial governor who's willing to suffer losses. Otherwise, we would have worked together long ago. Only through circulation can we prosper. There's no lack of goods here, but the main thing is that there's a lack of means of circulation. This makes the cheap goods in the 2 prefectures become expensive. Qinzhou is blocking us, so when the time comes, we'll use the same method to block them. We don't have to do anything, and the local merchants will force the provincial governor of Qinzhou to come and ask for peace." The old man understood now. He looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and said, "You two have learned a lot. It's a pity that I don't know much. Otherwise, I'd teach you well. Just like by Go, it's hard to find a good teacher, but it's also hard to find a good disciple. I know about the other prefectures, but Su Maozhou and Lianzhou are on the opposite side of the sea. Why don't we just ship them over to sell them?" The old man didn't know much about business. It was mainly because business was related to politics. He didn't know what political economy was, so he could only ask. Who asked these 2 children to be taught by an expert at home? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew why. Earning money wasn't the goal. Helping Zhang Zhong was the most important. Wang Wan said to the old man, "Actually, it's on purpose. If not, why would we build roads? We let them come over to buy the goods to increase the circulation and increase the floating population of our prefecture. These people need to eat and stay in hotels. There are also caravans that will arrange for people to wait for the goods here. This requires a special department to appear and act as a middleman. Some people feel that our prefecture is good, so they will stay and live here. At the same time, it's also a form of attraction to the people in the mountains. I don't believe that they won't want to live a better life." Now the old man understood. Everything was to accumulate political achievements for Zhang Zhong. The financial resources of the Zhang family had always been used by Zhang Zhong. People couldn't help but admire the effort that the Zhang family had put in for Zhang Zhong. They even made a little loss in business, such as cooperating with the locals, which would make the Zhang family earn less. Even so, they had to bear the burden and pave the way for Zhang Zhong. Thinking of this method, the old man couldn't stay still and ate faster. The reason why Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't finish eating was that they were waiting for the old man. When accompanying guests or elders to eat, the host and the younger generation couldn't finish eating first. It was very impolite. Seeing that the old man had finished eating, the 2 of them sped up. Just as the old man finished eating, the 2 of them also finished eating. They began to clean up the dishes and put them in the kitchen. There was no need to care about them. The old man had someone to wash the dishes for him. The old man found that he couldn't find any fault with the 2 children. He just liked them. He took the tea made by Wang Wan and sat there, sighing with emotion. If the people in the world could be like the 2 of you, then our Tang Empire wouldn't have to worry about the surrounding countries. I have to write down this method and send it to Master. Let's see if Master can understand it and learn to find a way out for the people there. Chapter 423. The County Magistrate of Huaqing County, Huaqisheng, was also riding a donkey. The mountain road was not easy to travel on. When he heard Su Lai talking to his people, he also said, "You guys are the same. You spent so much effort to make us a mere figurehead. What about now? We haven't made you a figurehead yet. I'll give you a chance. If you think you have connections, quickly run away and find someone." When the officials of Huaqing County heard the county magistrate's words, they all shook their heads. They didn't dare to run away. If they did, they would be arrested. There was no one they could find. Those who knew them were the county magistrates of neighboring counties. If they ran into each other, they would at most have a meal together. Even if it was a normal matter, they might not help. Not to mention that the provincial governor of a province wanted to deal with them. Fortunately, they didn't have any lives on them. When they arrived at the provincial governor's place, they would admit their mistakes. Perhaps the provincial governor would let them go. They were indeed regretful. Who would have thought that the new provincial governor would be so tough? He had money and people, and he didn't show any mercy. They had also heard of Shen Guifu. He was a capable person in the capital, and he was the son of the emperor. If such a person could be dealt with, what were they worth? The news of the two counties being dealt with was deliberately spread by Zhang Zhong's people. He directly asked people to post notices in the two counties. The notice was written clearly. When the people of the two counties knew about it, they cheered for a while. However, the people who had the Shen family's mark on them were in trouble. The notice was written clearly that the two counties were to be taken over by the people from the inner courtyard of the Zhang family and Wang family. These people from the inner courtyard usually had some contact with them. When they came over, they had specially trained them. Although they were inexperienced, they had no problem holding up the place. The county magistrate of Huaqing County, Huaqisheng, and the county magistrate of Ninghai County, Su Lai, had nothing to do with the person surnamed Shen. The geographical location made it impossible for them to interfere with the salt pans. They didn't have to share the money. If they wanted to share, they would take more. They only took out a little to rope in the people under them. The purpose was to make them a figurehead bit by bit. They couldn't get the money, and they couldn't interfere with the matters of the salt pans. The two of them had been looking forward to this day ever since they knew that there was a new provincial governor. Finally, the day they had been waiting for finally arrived. Just like the heavy rain, the wind and clouds surged and came so quickly. The two of them gathered together and discussed for a while. Then they gathered their subordinates and asked them to come and surrender themselves. They said that the provincial governor might give them a lighter sentence because of their initiative. In fact, they just wanted to bring these people to the provincial yamen and let the provincial governor deal with them properly. Then they could do things with peace of mind in the future. It was raining heavily. A group of more than 30 people walked in the rain. They didn't feel cold or uncomfortable at all. The two county magistrates and several people who hadn't been bribed felt very happy. The others were still thinking about what to say when the time came, and how the provincial governor would deal with them. In the heavy rain, the construction on the dock also stopped. The workers hid under the temporary shelter and drank hot soup. In order to hurry, they changed the 4 meals provided by Zhang Zhong into 2 meals a day. They ate 1 meal in the morning and 1 meal in the evening. Zhang Zhong still didn't know about this, otherwise he would never allow it. It was raining heavily outside. The person in charge of cooking boiled some hot soup and added a lot of ginger. The people who worked had different meals. Those who were assigned to work drank seafood soup. There was little ginger and little oil in it. Those who were paid to work drank chicken soup. In addition to ginger foam, there were some ginseng whiskers with a layer of oil floating on top of it. There were also some dry biscuits left for them to soak in. In Sanshui County, of course, the first kind was better. It was seafood soup. No one liked the second kind. There was no lack of chickens in Sanshui County, especially the Zhuangzi of Zhangzhong and Wang family. But it was different here. Where did the seafood come from? The people who were sent here fished it from the shore. Small crabs and conches could be fished up casually. The people who cooked didn't even wash them. They directly boiled a big pot of soup. It was salty, so they didn't need to add salt. The rain is good. It has washed away some dirty things. Anong, eat quickly. You don't need to put the biscuits in the soup. Just bite off a little bit and taste it slowly. Then drink the soup. That's good. A person was looking for the best way to eat food. He looked at the people who were sent here not far away and said loudly on purpose to let them hear him. They usually should have 3 meals a day. Others had 2 meals, but they only had 1 meal. No one in the local people would think that it was wrong. It was good enough to drink some soup now. Who would give them biscuits? Those people also heard it. They couldn't tell what they were feeling. If it was before, how could they be so embarrassed? They ate and drank well. Unfortunately, they didn't enjoy enough. Everything turned into bubbles in the sea. They didn't know how long they would have to work here. Some of them were sentenced to 10 years of work. They were worried that they would have to work for 10 years. When they were free, they would probably be exhausted to death. The one called unknown was a young man of 16 or 17 years old. At this time, he was staring at a person on the other side. This person had beaten him more than once. He would find an excuse to beat him up. If it weren't for the whip marks on this person's body when he came over, he really wanted to go over and beat him up. He wanted to return the favor to him. In the end, he didn't need to do anything. That person was in so much pain that he wanted to die. When the marks on his body came into contact with the seawater, the taste was indescribable. The person who was being stared at seemed to feel this gaze. When he turned his head and saw that it was unknown, he sighed, turned around and slowly drank the soup. Humph. He got off easy. Since he was whipped, then forget it. The last time he beat me, I was in pain for half a month. I was afraid that I would have to work even if the salt water came into contact with it. He deserved it. Unknown took a bite of the biscuit and muttered. The people from Kaifeng were eating with them. Because of Zhang, the people from the 2 places seemed to be more pleasing to the eye. They gathered together to chat. When they worked, they also helped each other. They seemed to be very harmonious. The people from Kaifeng could drink any soup. In fact, they wanted to taste the seafood soup, but there was little ginger in it. They could only choose the chicken soup. There was a thick layer of oil on top. When they put their mouth on it and sucked, the oil was still thick. It seemed that they couldn't finish it no matter how much they sucked. Just as they were hiding under the shed and chatting, several figures appeared in the distance. They could not be seen clearly in the heavy rain, and were very blurry. When the 7 figures approached, the local people immediately said to a woman who came from Kaifeng who was cooking, "Quickly prepare 7 bowls of soup. Add more ginger. These are people who came down from the mountain. They must have been drenched all the way here." The woman immediately began to serve the soup. In addition to the ginger, she also added some chopped green onions. She placed them there, and waited for the 7 people to come closer. Among the 7 people, one of them was being supported by others. He was limping as he walked. By the time the 7 people reached the nearest shed in the rain, all of them had lost their strength and sat on the ground. One of them, who was supporting an injured person, even started to whimper softly. The injured person grabbed his thigh with one hand and touched the 14 or 15-year-old child beside him with the other. He said a few words that others couldn't understand. The older child finally stopped crying. Only then did the injured person turn his head and say to the person who brought the soup over, "Brother Liu, please don't blame me. Thank you. It takes 6 days to walk from our place to here. I don't know if it will rain or not. When I saw the place, it was raining heavily. I accidentally fell down and cut a big hole in my leg. I also sprained my foot. The fur and jade feathers I brought were all wet. I can't sell them for much money. Remember the money for the soup first. Oh, and the ginseng roots. Well, after selling these things, I will give you the money. Give me some of the burned wood ash. I will stop the bleeding." They don't understand what you are saying. Don't ask them. Are you going to build a dock here? This person's face was pale and he spoke weakly. Listening to his words, it seemed that he existed specifically to be a translator. The other 6 listened to this man in all matters. He said a few words to them, then picked up the bowl of soup and drank it in big gulps. When the woman passed them a biscuit, they took it and ate it without saying a word. Over there, someone had already started to make wood ash for this person. This was the most common method. After the wood ash was brought over, this person pulled the leather trousers hard. A 1-foot-long hole appeared on the outside of the leg. It was still gurgling with blood. The place beside it was washed white by the rain. Just as this person was about to smear the ash, a person from the inner courtyard of the Zhang family, who had come from more than 20 sheds, shouted, "Wait a minute, don't use that ash, I have something good here." The injured person stopped what he was doing. He looked at the person and said, "I don't have so much money to give you. Is this a seedling on your clothes? Why do you embroider this thing? We only embroider it on the body. We won't stab such a weak seedling." Weak seedling? This big brother, don't look at this seedling. How many people tremble in fear when they see it? How many people will feel at ease when they see it? Come, big brother, I will take a look at your wound. It's free. You came from the mountain, right? My master, that is, the provincial governor, has regulations. Anyone who comes from the mountain can send goods to the provincial government office. The government office will buy them at a high price. They will also send a set of clothes, 2 caddies of salt, 5 caddies of vegetable oil, 20 caddies of corn, and 20 caddies of wheat flour. If you are injured, no matter how serious it is, as long as you are not dead, you will do your best to save you. As this person spoke, he had already put the medical cotton into a bottle of alcohol. He asked the person next to him to open this person's wound. After taking a deep breath, he said to this person, "Big brother, it's very painful. Bear with it." Chapter 424. At this time, another person with rice seedlings embroidered on his clothes came over. He took out 2 pills from his backpack and put them in front of the injured person's mouth. He said to the injured person, "This is for pain relief. This is for reducing swelling. You will be fine after eating it." After he gave the pills to the injured person, the 6 people who came down from the mountain immediately became vigilant. The injured person said something to the 6 people, and the 6 people calmed down. After eating the 2 pills one after another, the injured person said to the person who gave the pills, "I told them that you don't need to use any poison if you want me to die. Just leave me alone. You can't stop the swelling with ashes. Even if you stop it, I might not be able to survive. You also have a rice seedling with an extra circle of thread on your body. You have 1 circle more than him. He has 2 circles and you have 3. Does that mean your status is higher than his? Yes, I am a 3-star servant, and he is a 2-star servant. You came down from the mountain, right? When the rain stops, follow us to the provincial government. Your wound is too deep and long. Drink more soup. When we arrive at the provincial government, let the doctor examine you." The 3-star servant didn't hide his status at all. It was also his honor. The injured person nodded and asked, "Usually when taking medicine, it is boiled and drunk. Why do you have pills?" The results of the medical school of Huayuan County are not much different from the pills of Yamacha County. They are only for pain relief and reducing swelling. After boiling the medicine, you can roll it into a ball with honey. It is convenient to bring it with you. You can eat it when the wound is healed. The 3-star servant explained. The injured person was already numb from the pain. Another person was bandaging his wound with gauze. He was very careful. He even wore a pair of gloves. He didn't need to touch the wound and gauze directly. After tying a knot, blood still oozed out. However, it did stop bleeding. The bleeding was not fast. With the medicine applied, it would be completely stopped in a short time. Why are you wearing gloves? You didn't lie to me just now, right? Is your master really willing to give you so many things? Or for free? Did he really say that the treatment is free? The injured man looked at his bandaged leg and felt much better. However, his body was a little cold. He only felt warm after drinking a few mouthfuls of hot soup. He asked the person who had finished bandaging him, "Wearing these gloves that have to be washed after one use is like touching the dirty things on my hands to your wound. The things I use for you are the cleanest. Indeed, it doesn't cost me money. Now, am I asking you for money? What's more, these things belong to me. Even if others want money, I won't ask them for it. The medicine you took was his own. When you go back, you have to report it and supplement it. I didn't lie to you. If you don't believe me, you can ask him," the 2-star servant said with a sincere expression. He then checked the place where the wound was bandaged and felt relieved. The injured man really did ask. He repeated the words of the 2-star servant to the 3-star servant. In the end he asked, "Is it true?" The 3-star servant looked at the other person and nodded. "It's true. Not only will you get a set of clothes, 2 jin of salt, 5 jin of vegetable oil, 20 jin of corn and 20 jin of wheat flour. If you are injured, you will be treated. I can also arrange things for you to do. If your people want to come down to work, the master will arrange it for you. No one will bully you. The wages will be the same as the others. If you do well, you will do better." When the 3-star servant said this, the 2-star servant secretly heaved a sigh of relief. In fact, there was no such thing. It was all his own idea. The master would tell them some things. From the analysis, he deduced that the master wanted the people in the mountains to come down. Naturally, he had to give some benefits. Today he finally had an opportunity. He first promised some benefits. When he returned, he would explain to the master. If he did something wrong, he would be punished. If he did right, he would be rewarded. Even if he was punished, he would still do what he had to do. His promise represented the master. Even if the master lost a lot of money this time, he would still pay according to what he said. He felt that he was very careful when he said these benefits. The 3-star odd job servant naturally couldn't undermine him. Competition was competition, but they were not allowed to use underhanded methods internally. They had to be unified externally. When he agreed, he added some benefits, telling the 2-star odd job servant that both of them would bear the consequences. This time, the injured man believed him. He looked at the people around him and found that these people seemed to be different from the people he met when he went down the mountain. Their eyes were clear and their faces were rosy. They were very energetic. They weren't like this in the past. He took a bowl of soup from the person beside him and ate 2 mouthfuls. He was puzzled and asked, "Are you guys building a pier? And it's a big pier. Could it be that a big ship is coming?" "This brother, they are already here. There are 18 big ships. There are many goods and people on them. You guys haven't come down for a long time, so you don't know. The officials here have changed. The highest ranking official has changed. What's his name, CI? Anyway, it's powerful. CI, listen, this name is not ordinary. The original county magistrate, Zhang Yi, has been arrested. Another one, Nian Wanjiu, has also been locked up. Those people who bullied us when you came down are all there. Look, they are drinking seafood soup. They don't have any biscuits. Each and every one of them has been whipped. Once they touch the seawater, they will die from the pain." There was a person in the crowd who liked to talk. He came forward and spoke to the injured man. He pointed in the direction of the people who were working for free. The people surrounding them opened up a path for them. The injured man looked over and saw that there were indeed a few people who were showing off and showing off. At this time, they were able to work. It seemed like it was just as the person in front of him said. They were arrested. There were even 2 people who he recognized. At this time, he forgot about the pain and said a few words to the 6 people behind him. The 6 people stood up and glared at him. "What are you looking at? If you continue looking, I will dig out your eyeballs. I will stay here for half a year. After half a year, see how I deal with you, mountain barbarians." The person who was being stared at glared at them and scolded them. "You still dare to shout? I will let you shout. Shout as hard as you can. When the original provincial governor was here, half a year, I will let you do it for half a year. Later, we will take you back and interrogate you again. I will not lock you up for 8 to 10 years. I will write my name backwards." A man from Kaifeng who was in charge of these people saw that this person was threatening others and went over to beat him up. The people around him did not dare to come over and help. They could only watch him beat him up. The person who was being beaten did not have any shackles on him, but he did not dare to resist. He was beaten until he cried out in pain. There were still injuries on his body. Seeing this person being beaten up, the eyes of the 6 people behind the injured man lit up. They could not speak the language here and could not understand, but they could see. They knew that person. In the past, he had robbed them many times. Now that he was beaten, it meant that this place had changed. "How is it? I didn't lie to you, right? Those bad guys in the past have all been dealt with." The person who spoke just now said at this time. Yes, I didn't lie. It has changed, really changed. In the future, when we go down the mountain, we will not be bullied anymore, right? Isn't the price for the furs fair? The injured man was in fear all the way. When he came, he had thought of giving away some of the fur for free so that he could sell the rest of the fur for more money. He could buy some things back, especially salt and cloth. Although this place was not far from the sea, they were also short of salt. It took 6 to 7 days to walk, and half a month to go back. There were 2 people on the mountain who were about to give birth. The children could not be wrapped in fur. They felt uncomfortable and always cried. Usually, they would come once a month. This time, it happened to be 1 month. They did not expect that he would be injured. They met someone to treat him, the kind that did not require money. In the end, they knew a big thing. The world had changed. After saying this, the injured man fainted. The people in the inner court checked and knew that he had a fever. They did not wait for the rain to stop and shouted to the people around. Who is willing to help carry him to the provincial government? Lift the shed as well to block the rain. He is sick and has a fever. If we don't send him to the hospital, he will die. If it was in the past, no one would care. Many people who came down from the mountain died of illness. They did not even have a good life, so who would care about others? But this time it was different. Maybe it was because they had a yearning for life, or maybe it was because they knew that the new good official would give them a good life. People also became kind. Immediately, a few young men stood out and made a rack to put the man on. Then another 50 or 60 people lifted the entire shed up. They tied ropes around the pillars and threaded them with logs. Then a few people lifted the shed up with all their strength. A group of people jogged towards the provincial government. Some people followed behind, waiting for the right time to change hands. The 6 people who came down from the mountain ran in the shed in a daze. From time to time, they would look at the only person who could speak the language. As they ran, someone started to shout, "Hey, hey, hey!" Everyone followed along and adjusted the rhythm of their footsteps. Their speed increased a little. The 6 people who came down from the mountain also followed and shouted. They felt that shouting like this gave them strength. As they shouted, tears flowed down. They did not understand the language of the people here, but they were not fools. They knew that their own people were sick, and these people were helping to find someone to treat them. Otherwise, they would not have to carry the shed and run together. If they wanted to find a place to bury them, they could just drag them there. Zhang Lu, do you think I will be punished when I go back this time? Just now, I promised a lot of benefits. The 2-star odd job worker asked the 3-star who was running beside him. How would I know? Wang Xing, you are really bold. Do you know how many mountain people there are? If you give everyone like this, I guess the things we brought will not be enough. Anyway, I have boarded your pirate ship. We will bear the consequences together and enjoy the benefits together. Zhang Lu was also taking a gamble. If he did well this time, although the biggest benefits would go to Wang Xing, he would still get some. If he did not do well, he would only be punished, but he would not be chased out. Wang Xing laughed and said, I guess I did the right thing this time. Even if the mountain people know about the benefits, they will not come down immediately. They will wait for some goods to be sent back and then come back. I guess they will have just made contact with the mountain people and be able to do some business peacefully. Think about it, it is impossible for all the mountain people to come down, right? They will only give one person who comes down once, and not a second time. There are women, old people, and children there. They will be able to hold on until the goods come back. If not, they will buy some from the surrounding places. Chapter 425. In the heavy rain, some were happy, some were sad, some were moved, and some were resentful. Lu Shaoqing and the other 3 were very resentful at this time. The 4 of them casually found a small tavern, ordered a few dishes, and warmed 2 pots of wine. Looking at the heavy rain outside through the open window, they were all in a bad mood. They still had their positions, but they did not have their authority. There were many things that they did not need to use their seals for. There were many things that the provincial governor's seal was still useful for. The judges were supposed to support the provincial governor. The matters that the judges could decide, the provincial governor could also decide. The matters that the judges could not decide, the provincial governor could also decide. The four of them reserved their seats, but the people below didn't listen to them, and the people above didn't need to listen to them. Lu Shaoqing looked at the wine and dishes on the table, and his anger rose again. These wine and dishes were all unloaded from the ship, and when he saw and thought about it, he felt the current situation. Zhang Zhong doesn't have the time to fight with us. What should we do when he has arranged everything else and is free to fight with us? Do we watch helplessly as we don't get any benefits from before? Do we have to compromise with him? Lu Shaoqing still picked up the dishes and drank a mouthful of wine. He looked at the puddle on the ground outside and said to the other three. The three of them also thought of the same thing, but they couldn't think of a way. They had a little money on hand, but it was impossible to bribe others. Even if they added up, they couldn't compare to Zhang Zhong's family's wealth. Just this loan alone, they had loaned out about 13,000 strings of coins, and there were still 2 counties people who hadn't been loaned out. With only a 10% profit, they could only earn 13,000 strings of coins a year. If the 4 of them had this much money, how could they still lend money? Countless transactions were waiting for them. When they were transported to and fro, there was a difference of a few percent. Now they could not compare. If they wanted to use money to buy people's hearts, there was only one result. Without money, they would lose people's hearts. Other than this, there was also martial strength. However, martial strength did not seem to be necessary. The crossbows were already used, so what was there to fight? They were not the original provincial governor anymore. The last method was to hand in the memorial. This had been done once, but the next day, the memorial was placed in front of the door and stopped halfway. Say something. If you don't say anything, are you waiting for me to think of a solution alone? Who knows what happened to the booklet? Lu Shaoqing slapped the table and asked when he saw the 3 of them staring at each other. Lower your voice. What are you taking pictures for? Someone turned around and shouted. Do you know who we are? You dare to teach us a lesson? You. Lu Shaoqing pointed at the man and didn't know what to say. I told you to keep your voice down, so keep your voice down. Why do you have so much to say? Isn't it just a judge? Catch me? Tui, just think of it as the past. Then I'll slap the table to help you loosen your muscles. I've long found you an eyesore. The man spat in disdain, and the 6 people at the table followed suit. The 7 of them were stronger than normal people, and their faces were tanned. One look and you could tell that they were the kind of people who did manual labor. Lu Shaoqing didn't dare to make a sound. He knew that if he made a sound at this time, he wouldn't be able to find a place to reason with them. If Zhang Zhong knew about this, he would definitely laugh himself to death. He turned back and said to the 3 people, It's true that when a tiger falls to the plains, he will be bullied by dogs. Don't pay attention to them, continue thinking of a way. He wanted to keep the peace, but the 7 people didn't want to. They couldn't find an opportunity. In the past, they were scared to death. Even if they did some work to earn some money, they would still be taken away. It was all because of these 4 people. Now that there was a new provincial governor, how could they not take revenge? The one who spoke just now stood up and walked to the 4 people's table. He said to Lu Shaoqing, What's wrong with you? Don't you know how to apologize? Do you think you'll be fine after slapping and talking? What else do you want? After all, we are judges. Aren't you afraid that we will arrest you? You are bullying us. You're right. We are just people from the outside. How did we offend you? You send people to take a cut of the work we do. You can bully us, but we can't bully you back. Are you a human and we are animals? The man clenched his fists as he spoke. It looked like he was about to beat them up. Chao Harue at the side said, That has nothing to do with us. We are officials and have many things to do. Of course, there are things that we didn't consider. It won't happen again in the future. Don't worry. Uft. Do you think I'm stupid? I know that it won't happen again in the future. The new provincial governor is a good official. How can you be an official? What's there to explain? Are you scared? You really have 2 mouths. Apologize. Otherwise, don't blame me. I alone will take care of the 4 of you. If you don't like it, stand up. You didn't consider it thoroughly. Do you dare to say that you didn't get a share of the money? It looked like it wasn't easy for this person to find such an opportunity. He wanted to vent his anger. He came from the outside, and it was tough. He wanted to make a fortune here. In the end, he almost died. He didn't even have enough money to go back. Sorry, it was our fault. Please be magnanimous and let us be quiet. Chao Hui apologized and cried. It wasn't that he was afraid. So what if he got beaten up? It was because he thought that if he got beaten up, Zhang Zhong and the others would be happy. He couldn't take this beating no matter what. As a judge, he was forced to such a state. There was even a provincial governor waiting for him to make a move. He felt like he was going to die. The man was satisfied. He looked at Lu Shaoqing. What about you? I'm sorry, everyone. Let's be quiet. Lu Shaoqing didn't even look up. His face was as dark as the sky outside. Can you be more sincere? The man asked unhappily. Everyone, it was my fault. Please don't lower yourself to my level. I'm really sorry. Lu Shaoqing forced out a smile. And, it's good that you know you are wrong. Eat, continue eating. The man was satisfied. The other 6 people were also satisfied. Even if they were exploited for such a long time and robbed of so much money, they felt very good after these few words were said. It could be considered as revenge. They had a good time, but Lu Shaoqing and the other 3 didn't have a good time. How were they going to eat? Many people in the restaurant saw this scene. A secondary 6 official was bullied to the point of lowering his head and apologizing. Fan Jianxi couldn't sit still anymore. He stood up, threw down the money and ran out. He didn't care if the rain was heavy or not. The other 3 people also walked out. The 4 people walked along the road in the rain without any destination. Chao Hui cried as he walked. In the end, the other 3 people also cried. The more they cried, the sadder they felt. The more they cried, the more they felt wronged. The more they cried, the more they hated Zhang Zhong. The people at the side occasionally saw them, but they didn't have any sympathy. Some people even scolded. Crying, you also have a day like this. Do you know how to feel? How many people have been exploited by you? Don't talk about crying. They even want to die. It's better for the 4 of you to cry than so many people crying. Cry, cry until you die. The scolding wasn't soft. The 4 people also heard it, but they didn't have the leisure to care. They were mainly afraid that the person who scolded them would also beat them. They knew very well what they had done. This won't do. I want revenge. Let's leave this place tomorrow and say that we're going out to take a look at the commoners. We'll go to Qinzhou and inform Governor Ning about Zhang Zhong. Jiang Huancher finally couldn't help but think of a person and said to the other 3 people. After hearing this, the 3 people hesitated. Lu Shaoqing asked, Tang, Governor of Ning has always been against us. When we asked him to transport salt, he didn't agree. He even blocked the road over there and asked us to give him some tributes. If we go to him now, he will definitely laugh at us. Also, it may not be useful. What do we have to negotiate with him? We are like stray dogs. Being laughed at by him is better than being dealt with by Zhang Zhong in the end. We will tell him that Zhang Zhong is rich, tell him what Zhang Zhong is doing here, and tell him that Zhang Zhong has a ship. Do you think he won't be anxious? Their whole family is in Qinzhou, and they are close to Luzhou. It has a lot to do with him. Jiang Huancher finally understood. Wasn't it just a matter of being laughed at? What could they do? It was better than being bullied here. Was it better to be laughed at by the governor or bullied by ordinary people? All right, we will go tomorrow morning. Come, let's go to my house for breakfast. We will let the 2 of them fight each other. No matter who loses, we will be happy. Fan Jianxi had also thought it through. She brought the 3 of them home. The other 2 could no longer object. The 4 of them were now in the same boat. Zhang Zhong did not know that the 4 of them were planning to deliver information to someone else. He was checking the accounts. The 4 judges were not simple. There was nothing wrong with the accounts. They collected what they should, and handed him what they should. There were more than 1,300 strings of coins in the mansion. And there was also food in the storehouse. Zhang Zhong could not find trouble with the 4 of them. He knew that this was the normal income, but there were some that did not. However, he could not find anything. The four of them are quite capable. It is impossible to find anything. I will wait for Xiaobao to come back and ask Xiaobao. His accounts are more complicated than this, but it is not bad at all. Zhang Zhong put down the account book and muttered to himself. He stood up and walked to the entrance. He looked at the rain outside and rubbed his face. He turned around and walked to the signing room. He wanted to see how the people in the inner court were doing. After all, this was the first time they were allowed to leave. At this moment, a group of people came running along the street. There was also a big shed. Their feet made splashing sounds as they stepped on the water. At the same time, there was also the sound of people shouting. Zhang Zhong stood at the entrance, wanting to see what was going on. The mansion's entrance was always open, just like the entrance of the county yamen. What if someone came to complain? As the footsteps approached, Zhang Zhong took a step back and waited for the footsteps to appear in front of the mansion's entrance. Zhang Zhong was stunned. He immediately asked, "What's going on? Wang Xing, tell me." Chapter 426. Zhang Zhong was stunned. He didn't have time to think about what Wang Xing said about making decisions. He immediately let these people enter the manor. Someone ran over to find a doctor. It was safer to treat this kind of illness. The main thing was that these people came down from the mountain and could be communicated with. No matter what, they had to be saved. The 6 mountain people who also came down from the mountain were arranged to bathe and change clothes. Some people also prepared some food. The people who helped didn't chase them out. They also arranged rooms for them to repeat the 6 mountain people's routine. The commoners were very happy. They sent these people back alive, and they were even allowed to stay in the manor by a good official. This wasn't a place that just anyone could come here. After they finished bathing and changed into dry clothes, they came to a hall to eat. They were even more excited. Now, they had something to talk about when they went out. At this time, Zhang Zhong was also listening to Wang Xing and Zhang Lu's report. After knowing that these were mountain people and the way they dealt with them, he nodded with satisfaction. Good, you did a good thing. Wang Xing directly promoted to 4 stars, and Zhang Lu also promoted to 4 stars. According to this promotion, go and receive your rewards yourselves. Thank you, Master. The 2 people said happily at the same time. They turned and ran to receive their rewards. On the way, Wang Xing said to Zhang Lu, "You have to treat me to a meal. Let's eat in a good restaurant outside." Sure, the best restaurant is our Ocean Wave Pavilion. I can afford it. Let's eat seafood. Zhang Lu agreed readily. After all, it didn't cost much, and it was seafood. Zhang Zhong waited for the 2 people to leave. He sat there and began to think about the future. At the same time, he was very gratified. The people in the inner courtyard were much stronger than before. They could take care of things on their own. Although they didn't give out much, it was enough to make people feel that it was a lot. As long as the mountain people's matter was solved, this place would be stable. Someone go and tell this matter to Xiaobao and Cuckoo. Tell them to come back quickly. Zhang Zhong stood up and prepared to check on the sick man. He shouted to the people in the steward's room. 2 people immediately ran over, putting on their straw raincoats and bamboo hats. By the time Zhang Zhong found the place for treatment, the 6 hill dwellers were already standing in the hallway of the house. They did not dare to enter and disturb him, nor did they want to be drenched outside. When they saw Zhang Zhong coming over and saw Zhang Zhong's official robes, the 6 people knelt down one after another. They were very respectful as they spoke in a language that Zhang Zhong did not understand. Zhang Zhong hurriedly helped them up one by one. Since they couldn't communicate with words, he would use his body to do it. Zhang Zhong smiled and lightly patted each of their shoulders a few times. He then pointed at the room for treatment and made a shushing gesture before he also waited. After waiting for an hour, he still did not see anyone come out. Just as Zhang Zhong was getting anxious, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan ran in. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the 6 people and whispered to Zhang Zhong, "Father, how is that person?" "I don't know. The doctor is still treating him inside. Let's wait for a while. Only that person can speak 2 languages. Without him, I have no idea what these 6 people are talking about." At this time, One of the 6 people came over and said a few words to Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong looked helpless. Zhang Xiaobao also frowned. If it was a commonly used dialect or a dozen commonly used languages in the world, he would have no problem at all. However, he had never heard of this dialect before. Wang Wan, on the other hand, came over with shining eyes and tried to say a few words to the hill dweller. The hill dweller shook his head and slowed down his speech to speak to Wang Wan. Wang Wan frowned and also slowed down her speech. She began to talk to the hill dweller with her hand gestures. After talking for a while, the 6 hill dwellers knelt down and kowtowed to Zhang Zhong. They seemed very happy and respectful. "Cuckoo, how did you know?" Zhang Xiaobao's lips moved. "I learned it. What can't I know?" Wang Wan raised her head and said, "Actually, I came into contact with this language when I was doing a mission in the past. At that time, the place they were at was too torturous. The 2 neighboring villages spoke different languages. Fortunately, they all knew Mandarin. I stayed there for 3 months and learned from the locals when I was bored. When I was almost done, I left. I didn't expect the hill dwellers to speak the same language as the people there. Occasionally, there would be a difference in vocabulary. You'll know after a few gestures." Zhang Xiaobao understood now. He looked at his father and thought about how to explain it to him. Zhang Zhong was indeed curious. How could his daughter-in-law speak such a language? His daughter-in-law had always stayed at home. When did she learn it? Although he was curious, Zhang Zhong had already acquiesced to this kind of thing. He could accept even more unimaginable things. He had already gotten used to it over the years. What else could he do? His son was his, and so was his daughter-in-law. When he saw his son looking over, he touched his son's head and said, "Xiaobao, in a while when that person wakes up, when I talk to him and ask him to convey his thoughts to the 6 people, let Cuckoo listen by the side. Don't make a mistake." Zhang Zhong didn't mention why Cuckoo would say such a thing. Zhang Xiaobao nodded and didn't say anything. However, he was very touched. Although there were so many incredible things, his family never asked and always supported him silently. Wang Wan stuck out her tongue. Just now, she was anxious and excited. Otherwise, she wouldn't have talked to him. She stood at the side and thought for a while. She felt that she should be familiar with the vocabulary, so she started talking to the 6 people again. Before the person came out, Wang Wan had already understood a lot of things. She said to Zhang Xiaobao and Zhang Zhong, "He said that village? Tribe? There are some people, more than the people who sent them here, fewer than the people who work at the docks. They produce chuayu there. They also said that they lack salt. 2 children are about to be born, so they came over to exchange for cloth and salt. They used the salt to rub the children's bodies and used cloth to wrap the children. They said that if they used fur to wrap the children would be uncomfortable and would always cry. They also said that the people here didn't treat them well in the past, but now the people here are good to them. They said that they don't need to give them so many things. They just need to buy the soaked fur at a normal price. They will buy things back. Every time they say that, the sun in the sky has to rise 6 to 7 times and set 6 to 7 times before they can arrive. They also said that they want to thank us for saving their people. Without that person, they won't dare to come out to buy things in the future. They want us to save their people. They can give us more things the next time they come. That's it. That's it." Zhang Zhong breathed a sigh of relief. "That's easy. I'm just afraid that they can solve everything by themselves. If they lack things, then give them. There are more people than the people who sent them here. There are more than 100 people who sent them here. They take turns to carry the shed. There are more than 1,300 people at the docks. It's hard to count." Zhang Xiaobao was also worried. Suddenly, he thought of an idea and ran out. After a while, he came back with a bag of money on his arm. He put it on the ground and gave Wang Wan a look. Wang Wan immediately started talking to the 6 people again, and pointed to the copper coins on the ground. A person stood there, squatted down and played with the copper coins. He smiled and grabbed some of them in his hand. He added a few more, thought about it, and subtracted a few more. After a while, he added and subtracted a few more. About 300 people. Got it. It seems that they don't count. Zhang Xiaobao estimated the number of copper coins that he caught. There were more than 300 copper coins. As for the number of copper coins that this person added and subtracted, it was not important. Wang Wan said a few words to this person. This person smiled and stood up. Wang Wan grabbed 6 jin of copper coins and stuffed it into this person's hand. After she made a gesture, this person happily kept it and put it in his arms. Along with the sound of the door, the doctor stood at the door and said to Zhang Zhong, "Master, he is fine now. These few days, give him 3 doses of medicine every day. After changing the medicine twice, he will recover." Zhang Zhong nodded. "Thank you, Dr. Feng. Go and rest." Dr. Feng was really tired, so he didn't say anything. He nodded to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan with a smile and walked out. Zhang Zhong led the 6 people, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, into the room. A person was lying on the bed. He was a little weak, but he was awake. When he saw Zhang Zhong come in, he immediately turned over and bowed to him. Zhang Zhong caught up with him, supported him and said, "How do you feel? Where do you feel uncomfortable? I will find another doctor to come and take a look. These are your 6 clansmen. They have been waiting outside." At this time, the 6 people also came over and said to the person. The person was about to turn over and get down again. His eyes were red as he said, "Sir, you are also waiting outside. Sir, I am just a mountain villager. I don't deserve you. You also helped to take care of the 6 of them. Sir, you are a great benefactor to my clan." "What mountain people? Since I am an official here, then they are all citizens under my rule. 6 young men, it makes me happy to see them. Recuperate well, and when you can move again in a few days, let the 6 of them carry the gifts that this official has bestowed upon you and carry you back. I heard that you have a child who is about to be born, so you must take good care of him. Having a new life is a good sign. When my son, Xiaobao, was born, my family was overjoyed. Since then, our lives have been getting better and better. It's the same for you. Since I'm here, I can't just watch you suffer." Zhang Zhong put down his pride and chatted with the person. He even pulled Zhang Xiaobao in front of him to let the person see. Zhang Xiaobao naturally knew what to say. He called him uncle and smiled innocently. Zhang Zhong said this, but in his heart he thought, "Your child can't be compared to my son and daughter-in-law. There is nothing they can't do." Chapter 427. Hearing the words of the injured aboriginals, Zhang Zhong felt a little uncomfortable. He felt that he had deceived these so-called barbarians who appeared ferocious, but were actually kind inside. They appeared to be barbaric, but were actually filled with yearning for life. Zhang Zhong's expression changed. Zhang Xiaobao, who was proficient in many kinds of psychology, immediately understood what was going on. He quickly said, "Father, I still don't know this uncle's name. When he has a child, I'll ask him to send her here. Then I'll have a younger brother or sister." Hearing his son's words, Zhang Zhong also recovered. He personally looked at the bandaged area and said to the villager, "You have to be obedient. You are all people under my rule. If you don't listen to me, how can I let everyone live a good life? How should I address you?" "Sir, my name is Nashu." "Sir, can you really let everyone live a good life? You won't bully us, villager?" It was the first time the injured villager had seen such a high-ranking official. He could not imagine how big the official was. After all, it was a very big place. Everyone had to listen to this person. In the past, he was disgusted with the authorities and hostile to the people here because he came down the mountain to do work and beg for food when he was young. The people here did not treat him well. He learned the language here and became an important person for the people here to interact with the people here. On the mountain, his position was second only to the chief. This time he came down and was injured. He did not expect to benefit from this disaster. The small official bullied people, but the big official was so kind. He unknowingly approved of Zhang Zhong's ruling position. Zhang Zhong put on a straight face. "Nashu, right? In the future, I don't want to hear the name villager. In my opinion, we are all the same. You just live on the mountain. How can you send Chuiyu to the state? When will the child be born? If it's too late, I'll send people to send the things needed. When the child is born, if it's a boy, I'll take him as my adopted son. If it's a girl, I'll take her as my adopted daughter. She can come down the mountain and live in the state capital. I'll give you land. If you don't come down the mountain, I'll send people up to teach the adopted son or daughter. My son Xiaobao and daughter-in-law Cuckoo will have a younger brother or sister. The tree knew a lot of things. After hearing Zhang Zhong's words, it couldn't continue to lie there. It suddenly sat up and looked at Zhang Zhong. It swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva and spoke with a trembling voice. Your Excellency, you really want to adopt my child? But, when I look at you, I can guess that the child in the future will be very likable. Xiaobao and Cuckoo play together, but they don't have a companion. In the future, when they have a younger child, the two of them will have one more person to play with. Xiaobao, have people prepare 100 bolts of silk, 100,000 coins, 20 kilograms of honey, 10 bolts of silk, and 1 bolt of cotton cloth used by the family. Send 100 frozen pork knuckles first, 20 jars of wine, and 10 kilograms of Longjing tea. As for the rest of the grain and oil, you can do as you see fit. Zhang Zhong praised Na Shu and ordered his son to prepare the things. Zhang Xiaobao agreed and left. Wang Wan stepped forward and said, Actually, Xiaobao and I want to have a younger sister. Uncle, if you have a younger sister, send her to me as soon as possible. I will play with her and teach her to read and write. Wang Wan was afraid that others would prefer boys over girls. She had experienced it herself. The reason why she was thrown into the Zhang family was because she was a girl. But now, no one would look down on her. What made her happy was that Zhang Zhong, her future father-in-law, had never looked down on her. Perhaps it was because of her relationship with her future mother-in-law that she married Zhang Zhong, so Zhang Zhong did not dare to look down on her. At this time, she deliberately said that she liked a younger sister. If she really gave birth to a girl, Na Shu would not look down on her. Na Shu looked at the little girl in front of him, as if he had eaten a calming pill. Thinking back to the things that Rinpochian said to give, he felt a burst of excitement. He finally felt the ability of a high-ranking official. He gave so many things that he did not even dare to think about, but he did not hesitate at all. Darren, isn't it a little too much for you to recognize a son or daughter? Na Shu did not dare to accept the gifts. What do you mean by a lot of things for you to recognize a son or daughter? Those are not things for your son or daughter when you recognize a son or daughter. They are things for your wife to nurse her body. How can this official recognize a son or daughter so simply? That will weaken the reputation of my Zhang family. Have you seen the boats at the docks? At that time, regardless of whether they are male or female, I will give them a boat first. The rest can be discussed later. Zhang Zhong wanted to make a good show. He wanted to let all the people on the mountain know how the provincial governor would treat them. Na Shu was so frightened that he began to tremble. No matter what, the gifts he mentioned earlier were only for his woman to use. His child was not even born yet. Rinpochian was going to give him a boat when his child was born. He had seen the boat before he fainted. It was because of the heavy rain that he could still see the boat. He knew how big the boat was. Even if he sold his entire clan, he would not be able to buy that boat. Yet he was going to give it away just like that? He did not care about other things. His child was not a child. She was clearly a treasure. When Zhang Zhong saw that Na Shu was too agitated, he helped him lie down again. He advised, Brother Na Shu, there's no need to worry. You'll know in the future that my family is not short of money. Even the combined wealth of the entire Luzhou can't compare to my family. My family is in the north of the capital. When you have the chance, you can bring your brothers and clansmen there to have a look. You'll truly feel at home when you're there. If you have a daughter, when she's slightly older, she can learn something here. If you have a son, your clansmen can move here. When the time comes, I can even let the son be an official. Darren, if it's a boy, you want to let him be an official? Then what about your Xiaobao? Na Shu panted heavily. He felt that he could not bear the good things happening one after another. When he thought of letting the son be an official, he began to worry about the other Xiaobao. Zhang Zhong smiled. I'm a 4th grade official. I'll be promoted to a higher position in the future. How can I let the son be an official? Even if I can only let one son be an official, I'll let my adopted son keep it. My son Xiaobao doesn't need my help. If Xiaobao becomes a general in the future, he'll be able to travel 1,000 miles. If he becomes a businessman, his fortune will be comparable to that of a country. If he becomes an official, then the corrupt officials of Great Tang can only wait for bad luck. Zhang Zhong felt that he was telling the truth. However, he realized that others might not believe him after he said it out loud. At this moment, Na Shu had no time to distinguish between the truth and the lies. At least, he knew that this new official's family was not ordinary. When he thought of this, he told Zhang Zhong about the matter that the two people from the inner court had mentioned. Zhang Zhong's smile did not change. Brother Na Shu, to be honest, I haven't considered this matter. They said it themselves. Ah, so those things are all. It's all true. As long as they say it, the Zhang family will admit it. If they make a promise to something that didn't happen, then it's the promise of the Zhang family. Brother Na Shu, you can rest assured. Zhang Zhong said seriously. Na Shu rubbed his temples vigorously. He really couldn't understand what was going on with this high-ranking official. The words he said and the things he did were incomprehensible. The first feeling he had was that he was rich, a lot of money. The second feeling he had was that he was kind, not only to mountain people like him, but also to his subordinates. A servant could make a promise on behalf of the master, and the master even admitted it. Na Shu did not think that such a high-ranking official would waste time to fool him. He could only choose to believe it. He would know when the time came. When the other 6 hill dwellers saw that this high-ranking member of their tribe was so agitated, they asked anxiously. Na Shu also told the 6 of them what he had told Zhang Zhong just now. After they finished, Zhang Zhong looked directly at his daughter-in-law. Wang Wan nodded and gave an affirmative expression. Zhang Zhong was relieved. At the same time, he felt an indescribable sense of pride. His son and daughter-in-law each had their own strengths. When the 2 children were together, all difficulties were no longer a problem. Wang Wan then asked Na Shu, "Uncle Na, is your surname Na?" "Haha, I gave this surname myself. There is no surname in the tribe. We don't even have a name. When the child is born, we just give him a name. Look at him, he's called Na Tuesday. He followed my surname." Even though Na Shu was wary of outsiders, he could not face Wang Wan's pure eyes, cute smile and sweet voice. He answered all the questions and pointed to one of the 6 people, and explained to Wang Wan with a smile. Wang Wan pretended to look at that person curiously and asked, "Uncle Na, don't you Zhuang people have a written language? Why don't you have a name?" "Zhuang people? What kind of tribe is Zhuang people? There is no written language. They can't even remember numbers. They don't want to go down the mountain because they are too different from the people here. They are afraid of being cheated." Na Shu was also confused. He had never heard of anything about the Zhuang people. This time, Wang Wan didn't say anything. She took a step back, because she saw from the corner of her eye that Zhang Zhong was about to speak. Zhang Zhong sighed at his son and daughter-in-law's eyesight. He said to Na Shu, "I've thought about what Brother Na Shu said. In the future, I will ask people to teach the people in the mountains some knowledge. Arithmetic and literacy are the simplest things. It's just that there is a language barrier. Brother Na Shu, you have to help them. By then all the people in the mountains will be able to read and calculate. They won't have to worry about being cheated in the future. It will be convenient for them to live or do business at the foot of the mountain. What do you think, Brother Na Shu?" "Really? If someone comes to teach, our tribe will give them the best food and the best house," Na Shu said happily. "It's true. But we can't send people over yet. My daughter-in-law is too young. We have to ask people to come down from the mountain. Cuckoo, talk to Uncle Na Shu." As soon as Zhang Zhong finished speaking, Wang Wan immediately spoke to Na Shu in the dialect that she was familiar with. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.